game! Excuse me. Hi. First time we're doing this, right? Not hacking ourselves to pieces because we have to start this up again. Nothing like that. We go, hold on, wait. Let me get some caffeine in me. As I was just saying, on a plane of existence not linear with our own here, isn't it a little wild? Let it drop. I had a great time doing comedy commentary coverage on our last episode, and I'll do it again soon. But, isn't it crazy that this past Monday, we put out an episode over here at CTE. Hi, Droid the Punk here, by the way. Welcome to Critical Leaks, where the bottom of the barrel folks sit, sip, and overanalyze jokes. And also remember their intro every time. Wasn't it crazy that we here at CTE, we were talking about how they're all kind of parroting each other, and how, in the comments, one of my brilliant friends pointed out that, you know, it's like they're all pushing the same message. They've all just agreed that this is how they feel about things, and as the comment pointed out, they've kind of become that mainstream culture that they hated so much, and are remarking upon in the podcast world. It's so funny because I've heard all of them say something to that effect of like, has become the thing they hated the most. And it's like, well, so too have you, right? Like, you guys are all just part of the, like, in club, and we all get paid to have the same opinions, guys, right? Like, it's uncanny that we were calling them out for that on Monday. And then this past week happens, where, without exaggeration, 4, 5 of them, I mean, could probably be more, but, you know, all put out the exact same video. As I was saying, I don't think that they plagiarized. I would almost prefer if I knew they were plagiarizing, because then there wouldn't be as much stupid flying around. I think it's far dumber that they're all aware of the fact that they're competing with each other. They all know, like, hey, you know, American Redact knows, oh, I'm competing with Podcast Cringe, and now Comedy Enforcement, great, he's back. Also, I have to deal with Apologia Comedea and The Good Rant, and then blah, 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 blah. And, like, he knows he's competing with all these different people, and yet none of them are doing anything to veer from their path. This path which leads to a bottleneck that only a few of them can make it through at the same time. And they're all racing for it. Because this last week they put out the same video 5 different times. Scripting was slightly altered, but largely just painting the same narrative about the same events using the same clips. And it was a really busy week for the comedy commentary sphere. At least for the Rogan sphere version of the comedy commentary sphere. And we're going to cover some of it. But although I had a good time on our previous episode, I don't want to be part of the echo chamber. I don't want to just be part of the noise where I'm like, yeah, that's right. So I'll cover Redact. Now let me cover, like, you've seen all of these stories 1,000 times. It's the Roast of Kevin Hart. It's a really, really big deal. And you've heard from all of these people. You've heard from American Redact and Podcast Cringe and The Good Rant, who rules, and Apologia Comedea, who is pretty cool too. But you know who you probably haven't heard from on all this nonsense? I'd be willing to bet money that you have not heard the commentary provided by Jake Weddle.
blackout drunk. Listen, if I wanted to watch a bunch of millionaires get absolutely blackout drunk and then proceed to suck each other off for 3 hours straight, I would have just followed Kevin Hart to a Diddy party. What's up?
Ooh, bit of a flat tire there. Diddy party. So, little background on friend of the show, Jake Weddle. Jake Weddle is a stand-up comedian. Jake Weddle's stand-up is, he's been at it for 4 or 5 years. From all I can tell, he's not super consistent, but he does it. And, we gotta give him props for that. You get up on the stage, you got some ties on you, as a Guy Ritchie character would say. So, Jake Weddle is a stand-up comedian, and he made his big break. He got his big break during the Mr. Beast drama a few years back. Do we all remember that? When people were like, this is so dystopian, like, Beast Games is a nightmare, and Mr. Beast's challenges are inhumane. It was like, I remember at the time thinking, like, God damn, I hope they never find out about the game Survivor, which literally is like, go starve yourselves. You only have access to certain resources. Let's see how the Lord of the Flies as state of nature, let's see what results from this. Mr. Beast was just doing cheap versions of that for his YouTube. But there was this huge amount of backlash that, frankly, I think kind of piggybacked on the whole Chris Ava Tyson drama. Sure. So there was a lot of attention on Mr. Beast at the time. Who, by the way, even though he's building Beastland in Saudi Arabia and, like, is the classicest example, I don't even know if he's a sellout. He was a product to begin with, right? But was a real one for when, for a lot of that, he's stuck by his friend. He did an anti-American Read Act, and he realized he didn't have a Chris Ava Tyson problem. Yeah, that was his friend, and he, like, stood by his friend, and they're not making videos. But anyway, I don't know a whole lot about that drama. What I do know a little bit about is that Jake Weddle went on Dogpag 404, who did the big expose on Mr. Beast being all bad, and that got debunked really hard, and now his reputation is in the trash. Again, he went on Dogpag 404's video and did this whole interview about how, like, he was forced to stay up for multiple hours on end, and, like, they wouldn't turn off the lights, even though that was part of the challenge, because he, like, wasn't allowed to leave this room for, if you stay in this room for 30 days, you get $100,000 or whatever the challenge was. This is me surmising. I don't recall what the actual parameters of the challenge were. So Jake got kind of a big break that way. He was he called his mom, and his mom was like, seems like a total sweetheart, and was like, well, from what I remember, that is what you said. You did get back, and you did say they weren't giving you any snacks. Well, that they did give you snacks, but that you had to ask for them a lot of times. Like, Jesus. Whatever, do what you gotta do, as they say, get that bag. So Jake Weddle kind of blew up then. Most of the people, I think, that are subscribed to his channel came from right around that era. Oh, I genuinely apologize. Jake Weddle is non-binary, according to this video description. So my genuine apologies. They go on Mr. Beast, they blow up, their channel hits 165K subscribers, and they have kind of been looking for their footing since. Right, like they're part stand-up comedy, but they're part, like, internet commentary, they're part game channel. They were doing this, like, Baldur's Gate 3 Shrek with the Shrek, what do you call them, for PC gamers out there. You download something, an add-on of some kind, I can't remember, mod. They were doing a Baldur's Gate 3, I love that game, they were doing a Baldur's Gate 3 Shrek mod thing, which was cool, but they've kind of been searching for their footing. Not like us. We know right where our feet are at all times. So, let's hear from Jake Weddle.
What's up, guys? Internet's most available comedy nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the roast.
Internet's most available comedy nerd here. That's true, I'm not very available.
Of Kevin.
I don't know that I would call myself a nerd. More like a comedy cool guy.
Hart, presented by Netflix. Now, it's been a while since I
I
watched
love your emphasis there, Mr. Weddle. They're Vister.
a comedy roast, especially one as it premiered all the way through. I did not see Netflix's roast of Tom Brady, where I maybe saw clips of him getting pretty upset during the roast.
Yeah. Okay.
But way back.
Oh, so they cut to a clip of Tom Brady on stage, and Tom is talking to, kind of whispering in the ear of Jeff Ross. And that reminds me. Here's a little something that really nobody's talking about. I heard Bobby Kelly talk about how Jeff Ross kind of fucked off during the Kevin Hart set, and Kevin Hart went to roast him, and then Jeff wasn't there, which was only the second most egregious thing that Jeff Ross did at that roast. Jeff Ross also went up and told some contrived story about how Kevin, at one of the roasts, maybe the Tom Brady roast, kept talking about how ugly Jeff Ross is. And so Jeff Ross goes to the doctor, and it was like, "Doctor, what? Kevin Hart thinks I'm ugly. Will you please test my butthole?" And then they find out that he had colon cancer. Truly tragic. Super duper sad. But you find out that he's beat that colon cancer, and anyway, so you told me I was so ugly that I went to the doctor and then I found out I had cancer. Okay, everyone welcome to the roast. And then he goes and sits down, and the next person who wants to make fun of Jeff Ross's looks is like, "Jeff Ross looks like he XYZ, blah, 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 blah." They're easy to do. They're fun to do. And the audience kind of pulls back, and they're kind of like, "Oh." And Jeff Ross is a total bitch for that. He knew that was what was going to happen. He knew that people make fun of him. By his own admission, he knows that people tend to target him for his looks because he looks like a piece of albino chewed gum. He's truly an abhorrent looking man. But the thing is he was before he got his cancer diagnosis. Jeff Ross has always looked like a glob monster. So it's like it was such a cheap move for him to be like, "Can't make fun of my looks anymore. Everyone have a great time at the roast." It was so clearly a move for him to not get made fun of, but also be able to go up there and be the roast master general. You hate to be so hyperbolic to use the word hate. I don't hate Jeff Ross, but I truly detest the man for things like that. Anyway, speaking of none of that, here's Jake Weddle.
Back in the day, I used to love the Comedy Central roasts. I remember the roast of James Franco.
By the way, Jake is donning what looks like a hooded flannel, which solid go-to, by the way. As an ex-northerner, I can tell you that the hooded flannel provides a bit of style, a bit of function, and a bit of fashion. The best of all worlds, you might say. You've got to love a hooded flannel. That said, I think the sleeves are cut off, like way up here, greaser style, or maybe they're rolled up. Looks like they're rolled up. Cool look. But I gotta say this, you must be from a certain parallel or above to wear flannel. Otherwise, you're posing.
Way back in the day, I used to love...
But if you listen to the guy, he doesn't sound like he's from Dixie.
Of the Comedy Central roasts.
Sorry.
I remember the roast of James Franco being
If you listen to this person, they don't sound like they're from Dixie.
Exceptionally good. I remember the roast of Justin Bieber being pretty alright. I remember the roast of Donald Trump being pretty good.
Sorry about the volume issues here. They're kind of doing the same thing I do, it looks like, which is bare minimum. That's okay. That said, thank you for the comments regarding the audio fidelity during my song. I am working on it. Please continue to let me know if you hear weird things. Because I'll listen back to it, but I'm listening back to it on my phone speaker, and I don't tend to hear it go all wonky. So please keep me posted there. I will continue to listen and continue to appreciate your insights. It's the guy that played Iago.
Donald always said,
I'm a little red bird.
money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the best Eastern European whores New York City has to offer.
Oh, what a time that was back in the day. And that's gonna be our president twice. Fuck! But this was...
What the hell is the guy's name? The guy that played Iago. He's incredibly famous. He's one of the iconic impressions to do. His name is Viggo Mortensen. I don't know.
This is actually my first experience watching one of the Netflix roasts. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I really wanted to talk about...
I can't believe we're finally covering Jake Weddle here on Critical Leaks. Okay, so when the Mr. Beast thing happened, I was still brainstorming. You know, I'm still visual. I'm still manifesting this motherfucking show, right? I'm like, what does it look like? Like, I want to do what, you know, I want to be like Mike, but like, I want to do my own thing, you know, and I'd love to have an explosion button, but that's Mike's thing, so what do I do instead of a, oh my. There you go, still, I'm brainstorming. I'm picturing how I think the show should look, and then the Weddle thing comes out, and it got a lot of things stirred up for me. It was some of the first like rants. I was like, fuck this fucker, because it really bothered me. And before the backlash, I was like, people are believing this person. I said this guy at the time because I didn't know, but this person, people are believing this fucking person. Like, they say they're not reading from a script, but they keep doing this. And so there's a lot of lore behind me watching Jake Weddle, and so it's great to be able to bring it to you in a palatable, non-blackout ranty kind of way.
The production of the roast, kind of all of the circumstances around it, what makes a good roast and what makes a bad roast, and also the world...
Wait, okay. Sounds like he's really gonna get into it.
The context that...
I've seen none of this, by the way. I was just like, I don't want to cover Redact covering the thing that Podcast Cringe covered, the thing that Apologia Commedia did.
This event.
By the way, I think I watched them all. Maybe the last one I don't think I did. That might have been Apologia. But to be fair, I think Apologia still is like probably building their team. Redact, I theorize that Redact is a script writer and probably an editor, or at least they will soon. He will soon. I'm being overly careful now, because I really do want to respect that. You know, if someone asks me to call him anything, I'll call him that thing.
Kind of.
Because I'm, despite popular belief, not an asshole.
Of sat in, and why it made me feel a little weird watching it. Now, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of the performers did fantastic jobs.
Like Sheryl Underwood, she rules.
I think...
I hope she has like a YouTube channel or something, because she was talking about how she's super interested in the like analytics, comedy analysis, and that kind of thing. So if she's like a channel where she talks about that stuff with other comedians, I just wish that's what fucking comedian podcasts were like, dude. And no, not like the JRE, like, we're the next, you know, we're the last bastion of free speech in the free world. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff, whatever, but, like, more mechanical, you know, comedians talking about, like, you know, I love talking to other songwriters, because I'm like, hey, yeah, we can kind of vibe, even if our processes are completely unalike. That's fascinating. Oh, that's how you write? Cool. I like talking to other writers sometimes. I like talking to other writers, not other aspiring writers who are avid readers, because we don't see eye to eye in the same ways, in the ways that we probably should. But I wish there was somewhere where we could listen to professional comedians talk about writing jokes. You know, like, believe it or not, pretty into the whole analysis of it all.
I think there were some jokes in there that were absolutely killer. In fact, the whole reason why I even watched it was because my TikTok feed was showing me like isolated clips and isolated jokes. And I was like, oh, those are great. I didn't know this was coming out. And that made me go, hey, yeah, wow.
Okay.
I should watch the whole thing on...
Ooh, an ad. Good for you, Jacob. Good for you, Jacopo. Jacopo's got ads. Advertisement.
TV. Whoa, remember TV?
Dudes, my guys, fellas, I think he's a Zoomer. He maybe is a millennial. He's got a bit of a baby face. He looks good. You look good, Jake. The mustaches come in well. I like that you got a little flavor saver down here, as my friend Aaron would call it. Got this little thing going on. You're looking strong. The flannel is a solid look on you, my friend.
I took my remote controller, I said... and all the...
I used to paint my nails as well. They paint their nails black. Wasn't really my thing. I preferred some more lavish. I used to do like reds and blues, and then I'd get some like sparkly overcoat shit and put that on there. I looked goddamn magnificent. But it's really, really bad for your fingernails. Isn't it, Big Jay Oakerson, who we'll be getting into later? That's right. I'm working on the structure, because at an hour and a half in, yes, this is a long show, buckle up. At an hour and a half in, we will be doing a reading, as per usual, of the autobiography written by Corey Feldman, Choreography. So for the first hour and a half of the show, we're going to be doing comedy, commentary, coverage, stuff. We're either covering other commentarians, or we're commentarying ourselves. But then we'll do the reading, and then we'll get into research on our comedian that we're covering for the second half of the show, who is Shane Mauss, who I may have met in Eugene, Oregon at one point. It's one of those where, like, psychedelia in a way sort of connects us all, right? If you believe as I believe, Chippo, not everyone believes as you believe. My beliefs do not require them to. Anyway, so I either met him on this plane or another. Lol. So we'll be getting into Shane after we do our reading, but previous to that, we're going to be doing some comedy, commentary, coverage, and I don't know how long we're going to listen to Jake Weddle, my current and favorite non-binary comedian. Yeah, feels like a safe statement.
The dust go off, and...
Except maybe Tony Hinchcliffe, because Tony Hinchcliffe is a
booted up Netflix, and I actually sat down and watched it with my mom because
a little heavy there.
Because unlike everybody on that dais, I actually celebrated Mother's Day, and there were times.
Jake, this face you made. Here's the thing: it feels good when you know you've dunked one. There's been a dunk, you know. You've scored a touchdown. You wanna fucking spike the ball. Have a little class, man. Act like you've been there before.
When I heard a joke so good, I literally did the thing where you like get up out of your seat and like take a lap. You know, when something's
You're appropriating that.
so funny you have to relocate. I was doing giggle paces all up and down the living room, okay? So yes, there will be some
Giggle paces all up and down the living room, okay?
things
Is he a New York guy? Yeah, you East Coast fella?
about the Netflix roast of Kevin Hart that
Excuse me, would you?
praise, and there will be some things about the Netflix roast that I really wanted to talk about.
I can't wait to hear what those things are. Sure, it has nothing to do with parroting the signals of virtue that are being cast all over the internet. What is the Brian Holtzman quote? I know it, I'm just kind of building up to it. What's that old quote by Brian Holtzman? If you don't like stand-up, leave it the fuck alone. Ty Rivera made some actually very, very salient points. And I almost brought Ty up today. But Ty also did the thing where he's like, you know, these are jokes. People should be able to make jokes. He doesn't sound like that. It's just, he would hate that impression, I'm sure. These are jokes. You know, I'm just making jokes. And then you go, the George, you don't like the George Floyd jokes? Then, like, don't listen to comedy or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I can get behind that. And then he's like, and what was so special about George Floyd anyway? It's like, oh, shit. He's doing the thing I talked about. Where everyone's sitting around laughing because somebody made a really edgy joke. And it's like, oh, God, that's so funny. We don't, like, could you imagine if we talked like that? Like, holy shit, that's a crazy thing to say. Ha 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 ha. And then people hear you laughing about it and they come over and they're like, yeah, I hated that guy. And you're like, oh, we were kidding. Like, this is, oh shit. Oh great. This is why people think comedy is problematic. Because it's like, I don't personally think that it is. I think that people like who have a tendency to do what Ty Rivera did. Not people like Ty Rivera, but people who have a tendency to act like Ty Rivera acted there. Where he's like, and this reminds me about all those George Floyd points I wanted to make. It's like, oh, God. Bro! But previous to that, his sentiment was largely reflecting the, like it's, people are fucking kidding. And if you can't handle it or you know you're someone that's sensitive to, like, people kidding in a harsh way, don't watch a roast. You know, or that, you know, do some research on the comedian you might be watching. Because I imagine, let me just type in real quick. If you just type in Tony Hinchcliffe, his face pops up, he's wearing his little vest. You get his bio from Wiki. And yeah, Hollywood Reporter. Chelsea Handler slams Shane Gillis and Tony Hinchcliffe's racist jokes in Kevin Hart's roast. Is that how Kevin Hart spells his fucking name? Oh my God. Chelsea Handler twists the knife in MAGA comedian after feud. I mean, he is. He's definitely a MAGA guy. Shane wasn't, as we've talked about. Watch the previous episode if you're curious. If you need context or if I'm referring to the older episodes, I do apologize, but at a point it becomes redundant to re-explain everything. So there will be some things that I'm like, look, I talked about the Shane Gillis versus the Tony Hinchcliffe thing in the last episode. And again, I don't want to be another person covering it because as much as it cringed me out to see and to hear, like, my hot takes, you know, every now and again, these commentary guys are right. And in this case, it aligned with my opinion, which, of course, was right. Anyway, it's so... I think I did last episode. I recorded it the day before it came out. So pretty much about as at the line as one could. But by Monday morning, people were just like shit posting about it. So my video does kind of get lost in the mix. But it was recorded a day early. So I do have a good defense against the hackiness allegations.
Also, I'm going to try to avoid using as much footage from the actual event as I can.
It's because Netflix will get you. They will come for that ass.
And a lot of the comments always say, when you talk about jokes, when you talk about comedians, can you show us examples of these performances, maybe? And I've tried. I did a video, why...
What, you've tried Netflix? Stop cutting to the clip. What you gotta do is get yourself a piano, Jacob. Get yourself a piano and then have it play on speakers so you don't have the visual AI thing, and then play it through the speakers so you hear it through a microphone, and then you play over it while it's playing and you cut it up and you share your thoughts. You can take that one to the bank, Jacopo.
Why are stand-up scenes in movies, in TV, so bad? It took me 3 times to upload because I kept having to...
Oh, because Sam Morril is writing them. Joker joke.
Change stuff for it to be copyright friendly. I was finally able to upload it to be copyright friendly. I uploaded that video almost a year ago.
A little sassy, I like.
And it just got copyright striked again, like, last week. And I'm like, oh.
What did his Netflix stuff? Their
And
Netflix stuff?
Just got copyright striked again, like
That truly is not a bit, by the way. I do care.
last week. And I'm like, oh, so we can do that? We can just like, the video's been up for almost a year and we can copyright strike it later? What triggered it? Anyway, I'm going to try to avoid.
I mean, not to answer a hypothetical question like I am so very wont to do, but I imagine updates, right? Because you're hearing a lot about that right now. I heard Coffee and Cults, Ash from Coffee and Cults, talking about this on one of the most recent allegation-laden videos that I heard. Coffee and Cults fucking rules, by the way. Said it before, I don't imagine she'd be a big fan of mine, but I'm a big fan of hers. And Ash was talking about how the copyright claim system has gotten even crazier, which sucks. I hope YouTube has the foresight to recognize, like, commentary is a big part of what YouTube is bringing to the channel, at least for people like me, obviously, but I feel like in general. Because if it's short form, TikTok is better than YouTube Shorts. I mean, I don't use TikTok, but like back when I was finding my feet on what kind of like content I wanted to be creating, I made one, and the editor, the video editor on TikTok fucking rules. Far and away better than the YouTube Shorts one. So short videos, short form content is gonna go to TikTok. They kind of have like a post, community post thing, but like your thoughts and that kind of thing usually goes over like X or Blue Sky or whatever. Like long form commentary, film criticisms or, what have you, at least for me and probably a lot of the people watching this, I imagine, if the algorithms serve this up to you, using other people's clips in fair use, which is an American right. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm an expert in comedy commentary, not laws. But it makes up such a big part of what is exclusive to YouTube content that the harder they crack down, the farther and farther they're pushing their user base away. Like, I don't... If none of the people... If all the people I watch can no longer use clips and comedy commentary is going to start becoming, like, movie criticisms where they can only use, like, bits and cuts... Little Platoon does a great job of... he'll take, like, a silly screenshot from the movie and be like, I'm the... for his Snow White video... He made the angry gatekeeping dwarf or whatever, and it was Peter Dinklage, because Peter Dinklage did the thing where he got all 7 dwarves fired from the Disney movie because he went on Mark Maron, everyone's favorite, Mark Maron's WTF podcast, and was like, oh, you're progressive on one hand by making Snow White Mexican, but you've got these 7 dwarves, you've got this backwards-ass story of these 7 dwarves living in a cave and eating moss or whatever, and it's like, aren't they the heroes? Aren't they absolutely the protagonists of the story? Like, they all live together, and that's your problem, I guess? I guess I'm not well-versed on, like, old hateful lore and rhetoric regarding dwarf kind, so maybe it is regressive in some way, but I would argue it's probably far worse that 7 dwarves who would be competing with you for the jobs that you get and are happy to be paid for, based on like the half man from Game of Thrones, like based exclusively on your stature, you sort of pulled the ladder up behind you for these other 7 people who could have forged careers that may have made them competition for you in the future. Maybe that's a little more problematic, but I don't know. It's not my barrel of monkeys.
Avoid using clips, but if you guys are in the comments like, hey, show more clips, I'm like, look, I'm trying.
Show more clips. Also, that noise for
hey YouTube.
It's a little you got it cranked up a little hard. That's why when you're talking, and then it goes, and it cuts off super hard. If that's happening to movies you're watching, change your audio settings.
This is transformative and educational.
I do this!
Fuck! First.
Yeah, I get that. I get that feeling. They're actually raising a pretty solid point there.
Things first, we're going to talk about the dais.
There should be some sort of definition on YouTube's homepage. Define transformational content. Fair use. Let's see if AI can. Transformative, it is transformative apparently, is a legal doctrine where a new work reuses copyrighted material but adds significant new expression, meaning, message, or purpose. Which is pretty much what I figured. Instead of simply copying the original, the new content fundamentally alters the original work, making it highly likely to be protected under copyright.gov fair use laws. So, pretty straightforward, you'd think. But unfortunately, the way it comes down, so not to get too far into it, but when you make a video and it has a copyrighted piece of work, they have the option to copyright claim it. They can copyright strike it, which gets the thing removed, but if they claim it, they get all the proceeds, they get all the monies from your video, right? So you have an option to then protest it or whatever, try to fight them for it, and then they have to produce proof. Within 2 weeks, they have to produce proof that they are taking it to court. Otherwise, YouTube releases it. Ideally. First of all, 2 weeks really can be a huge setback, especially when you're like under the gun of the algorithm. Where it's like, consistency! Mr. Beast says be consistent. So 2 weeks really can fuck you up if that's what you're working through. And also, it doesn't always work out that way. And for people like me, you know, even though I've clearly got what is very obviously very real money, and I got a lot of it, it's very real money, I don't have, like, Netflix lawyers' money, so if they did happen to, like, I don't want to say call my bluff, because I am on the right side of the law, technically, but, like, should they be like, Mr. the Punk, it's time for you to go to court for this, I would be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I haven't even protested it before. I'm just like, sure, what's 80% of zero? You're entitled to it.
The performances and the jokes. Then we're going to talk about the production. Whoa.
Jake, just for future reference, if you'd like, you can use the EEK scale, but you have to call it by name, or else me and my people, we will be talking about it over here and probably making fun of you, and you don't want that. No one on the internet likes that, except for when they're doing it to other people. So yeah, you can use the EEK scale, but give credit where it's due, please.
What worked, what didn't? This was a behemoth of a production and was filmed live? Was that good? Was that bad? Why does Netflix want to get into live content so bad? And
I mean, it's been a couple of years, right? What, did Burn the Boats came out in 2024, if I'm not mistaken? We gotta be right about that, at least. When did Burn the Boats come out? August 3rd of 2024, yeah. Wow. God damn, time flies. It's funny, I was, the other day, one of the recent episodes I had said something to the effect of like, I've been in the genre for a couple of years now, and then I went back and looked, and I'm like, oh no, it's actually more like 3 or 4. It just fucking flew by. I also live somewhere where there's not really weather changes. I grew up in the north where you could mark the passage of time using the seasons. It's like, when was that? Well, it was like winter. It wasn't last winter. It was probably, 2 years ago? I don't have that anymore. It's just like kind of a limbostic.
After talking all that shop, I think I'm going to get into, like, socially and abstractly why I think this event as a whole, even though I did laugh a bunch, did give me this off-put,
He's off put by holes.
uncanny, borderline dystopian feeling.
Jake, I don't think I've ever warned anyone of this before, but I do want to give you a quick heads up. You are breaking the fucking English language when you use words the way they're not intended! It's not dystopian. In what way was it dystopian? I am so fucking sick of hearing people throw the word dystopian around. There's no reason to be so hyperbolic. Dystopian how? Because you were sitting in your room watching a nice TV on a Netflix thing that you have to pay for to watch. Like, what? Dystopian in what way? That's really just, come on. Please.
But
Please, for the sake of the language I feel we both probably love, stop breaking words.
after all that heavy shit, I will talk about some of my favorite jokes of the night. And while you're here, if you like the video, if you like me, if you like stand-up comedy, then give this video a like. Hit subscribe.
Oh, that is just, I've said it on the show before, but I was talking to a friend about that. Where I was like, I think that's the cool way to do it, to like ask for subscribers. And he goes, something to the effect of, there is no cool way to do it, but there is an acceptable way to do it. And I feel like, Jake's kind of hit a sweet spot here.
Stick around. Become a member. I also live streams.
Become a member.
So if you want to join my Discord,
I was thinking for a sec, because I had this weird thing happen after last week's episode came out. I was doing something, I don't know, it was in my head for whatever, several hours after it released. And then I opened it up. I was sitting with my fiance, and I was like, holy shit. She's like, what? I go, this is 39. This has already got 37 views, which is huge here at CTE. I was like, this already has like 37 views, and it's got like 14 likes, which has never happened here before, especially in such short order. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I also had like 10 new subscribers. I was like, this is the greatest night of my fucking life. And to be fair, it was an awesome night. And a great feeling. I was like, yeah, cool. And then the next day I woke up and I looked, and I'd lost all but one of those subscribers and all but like 3 of those likes, which again, still huge, and I still love. I still think that's awesome. That's the homies. We got each other's backs out here. But I still don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like some kind of like botting thing that got bot swatted or something. I don't know if it was like a weird, unprecedented ego trip glitch or something. I don't know what it was. It was a cool feeling at the time. As it resolved, it was still awesome. I still got another subscriber and then another one, so we're up to 45 now, the big 4-5, which is cool because since the dawn of the show, I've been considering going onto YouTube Live as a format, because I always kind of thought that was like the goal, right? I wanted to like have that like hangout, and maybe I do. But I've just gotten very used to this format, and Comedy Mothership's following me. I got friends over, follow me over on Twitch and stuff now. So I don't know. We'll keep you posted on that. But you can only live stream to YouTube when you have 50 subscribers, and so it's coming up. We'll probably keep things the way they are for now, just because I kind of like that. Like, I get so distracted. Like, so if there's people chatting and stuff, we're not gonna have, maybe it'll be a better show. It could maybe be, a different show that's, maybe by some people's standards better, or it could literally just make it worse because I'm like talking to a chat that no one who's watching the video later gives a shit about. Anyway, that's all, what do they call that? All shop talk. That's what Jake Weddle here would call it. So let's skip ahead a little bit. I don't think he has any clips, but we'll skip up to his first clip. This is Handler. Okay, cool.
Clip.
So there is the hilarious bit about this. I think maybe this is what he's talking about, because there's the whole thing about how Chelsea Handler was making fun of the people who went to Riyadh as though it was Shane and Tony, but they turned it down.
I saw it as promotional material, so
Going back.
for that, hit subscribe. We're gonna talk about that later. But her performance, she's an actress. She's a comedic actress. She
Talking about Chelsea, I imagine.
brought those chops to the roast, and again, she was fantastic. We won't dwell on it. She was great.
It's really funny for a stand-up comedian to say that. You might not have caught it, but he said she's an actress. She's a comedic actress, and she did a great job of bringing those chops to the performance. We won't dwell on it. She was great. That's really, really, really funny. Just because that's coming from a stand-up comedian, calling someone a comedic actress is a little bit of a dig. I don't know if that's how they intended for it to be, but I think so.
Chelsea Handler, also great. She also
Oh, I guess it was a different person that he was talking about.
made a really, really great joke about the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I'm going to risk the clip because I saw it as promotional material. So let's see what happens.
Now that your favorite leader is making the draft mandatory, I assume that all of you will be signing up to go fight in Iran. Or do you tough-talking pussies only go to the Middle East for comedy festivals?
Are we still monetized? I can't tell. You guys tell me. If not, then maybe become a member, make a donation. Okay.
Okay, well, this is not the cool way to do it for sure. This isn't even the acceptable way. It's too many times, Weddle.
I'm kidding. Tony
But if you are enjoying the scrappy shirt, to subscribe.
Hinchcliffe. God, I fucking hate Tony Hinchcliffe. God.
So glad you said so.
Fucking sucks.
Bro, the bottom of the barrel loves him, okay? The absolute bottom dwelling Picostomai of the world's aquarium. Picostomai are the suckerfish that eat all the gunk. That's us.
I'm not even going to talk about his politics, right? He's the guy who opened at a Trump rally and did the Puerto Rico.
Like, you can't have piano playing because it's kind of my thing. So if you have piano, oh shit, no one tell anyone. Fuck, if they have piano playing, it could undo this whole thing. This sweet little knot we're tying, it could become unraveled and unruly.
Joke.
Let's hear him. Let's hear them talk about let's hear a non-binary person talk about Tony Hinchcliffe. That's amazing. I didn't realize that's what we were gonna get into here today.
Make a donation. Okay, I'm kidding.
So first of all, he goes right from this like really cheesy like fake plug. LOL. I'm just kidding, obviously, but like, you know, if you're down there, it's like it's too many layers of sarcasm, bruv. We know what you're doing. Just do it. Tell him. Threaten me. You can have my subscription.
Tony Hinchcliffe. God, I fucking hate Tony Hinchcliffe. God. Become a member. Make a donation. Okay, I'm kidding. Tony Hinchcliffe. God, I fucking hate Tony Hinchcliffe. God, he fucking sucks. And it's not, I'm not even going to talk about his politics, right? He's the guy who opened at a Trump rally and did the Puerto Rico joke. Ignoring the politics.
You admit that it's a joke, and you're like, oh,
Which
I
is
hate Tony Hinchcliffe so much. That's the thing, is like, it sucks because that joke isn't like funny. It's like a groaner. It's like I think it's called Puerto Rico. Like, excuse me, I make dumb jokes like that in the car. You see a license plate and you're like, oh, boner, I barely know it. Like, you know, it was just a yuck kind of like nudge joke, but it had that really very, you know, I can't even call it racial because Puerto Rico's a country, so jingoist. It's this jingoist undertones to it. But because it pissed so many people off, it's funny. The joke was not funny, but the greater context that the joke surrounds the joke and the tale that the joke created incidentally is funny. The fact that he knowingly went up there to piss off the entire world on arguably one of the biggest platforms that like a comedian can have. You know what I mean? Like, this is a presidential rally for the United States president. Like, that's a BFD, bro. It's funny that that's how it all went down. I also am of the mind of like Sheryl Underwood mind, where it's like, it's good that they can make those jokes. It's good that you feel offended. You should be. That should be the reaction to it. Anyway, Sheryl Underwood rules.
Is already like, I don't give a fuck, I hate you. Just as a comedian, just
Piano's really starting to bother me, Jake.
as a stand-up, I don't like what Kill Tony has become. I think when Kill Tony first started, it was
You're a Jeremiah Watkins guy, aren't you?
cool.
You're a Jeremiah Watkins person, aren't you?
I actually had some friends like go and do Kill Tony and like do well.
What friends? What friends? What friends? I don't mean like Jake has no friends. I mean like we would like to know their names so we can cover them here on Critical Leaks.
And like get some shows out of it, which rocks. And I think giving younger, newer comedians an opportunity like that is great.
Okay.
But I do think it has become like a let's make fun of these amateur comics who are just trying. Let's be like mean and shitty.
You don't watch a lot of Kill Tony, do you? Because usually the ones that they're very, very shitty to, sometimes the guests will a little bit like mistake the format for this, because this is the reputation Kill Tony largely has. It's like, oh, doesn't he just listen to new comedians and then make fun of them? It's like, oh God, I love when he does that, but unfortunately, no, he's usually kind of sweet unless they step on his ego, his very fragile ego in any way, and then he will destroy them. But like, and there will be guests who mistake it, as Jake has done, for like, oh, we just make fun of these guys. But even like when Luis J. Gomez goes on there, who tends to be one of the more like, go after them, roast them out guys, he gives them he'll offer gigs to people who are good. And most of the time when Tony is shit, I'm not saying Tony's not shitty to people, but usually, unless they've intentionally like pissed him off with some kind of like Tony's gay joke or whatever, which are always funny, you kind of have to like insult the format of the show by going on and like not trying, because the first thing he asks every single person on Kill Tony, he goes, how long have you been doing stand-up? If they're really bad, he'll go, how long have you been attempting stand-up? But that gives him if they go 10 years and they were bad, he'll go, oh my God, that's so, maybe find something else to do. And then they'll kind of make fun of that. But if it is, as he's saying, someone that's new, that's just getting into it, this is their first time, but they did write jokes, then like Tony will kind of like, won't destroy them, then he'll go on to asking them questions about their personal life and trying to find some angle about them that's interesting for the show. It's, a lot of us would prefer it if he would just make fun of the people, but I think that loses after a while. Like, it doesn't really have legs, So anyway, this is a pretty uninformed take from Jake.
And also,
Gasp.
He's one of those comics that has made the comedy ethos like slur. What? I can't do comedy anymore. Legalize comedy. And I do feel like that has a really negative effect on stand-up as a whole. Like, I'm not...
A bold statement. I just want to... Because when someone's talking to me, usually if they're asking me like a question, I'll have to repeat the question aloud to myself. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So you just... It takes me a sec to do the math. You've probably noticed. Not the quickest tack in the drawer. But this is just a huge statement. So it has... Let's listen to it again.
Effect. And I do feel like that has a...
Going back.
I can't do comedy anymore. Legalize comedy.
The whole legalized comedy thing was Elon Musk, and it was really... it was a manipulation tactic, and it was courage as fuck. But also legalized comedy, bro.
And I do feel like that has a really negative effect on stand-up as a whole. Like, I'm not even talking about the negative social.
By the way, it's in C minor, in case anyone was wondering. The song that he's playing over me, very rudely having piano on his video I'm trying to cover. There.
Social ramifications, which are also bad. I'm strictly talking, it's bad for comedy.
Okay. Please elaborate.
It sets bad expectations for shows. It
sets bad expectations for shows because people are coming in expecting to hear you say the naughty words that no one likes to hear anybody say. Well, those are two conflicting narratives, but I haven't heard you say it. So
makes comedians worse writers.
I agree. Okay, so I'll say this. It makes the bad ones worse, for sure. People who are bad writers were just going to be bad at it anyway. They just think they have a way in. But they're even we, the lowest bottom of the barrel people, we've started to turn on when people just come out and they're like, the Kill Tony bingo sheet kind of stopped working largely, unless it's done very well. But like, especially, Marin kind of fired one across the bow with the like, all you're doing is making fun of the most disenfranchised populations. Like, that's punching down. Comedy's supposed to be punching up. And for some of us, it was like, yep, that is true. Like, and so regardless, I think it has to be well written. You can still come out, and I would always have said that, where it's like, it's not funny to just come out and say the N-word, but if you find a funny way to do it, like, here's to you. It's almost more impressive if you can take something so aversive and make it enjoyable. There's an art to that, I find. But yeah, I guess I largely agree with them here that when they were in LA, there was a lot more struggling joke writers getting into stand-up comedy. And now it's more like people who think they can be a part of the like pro wrestling menagerie of it all. They know if they get up there and they make a Tony's gay joke and trans, I didn't know I got tricked by a trans girl, or they say tranny or something, like they know that they can get some cheap laughs. And so yeah, you see more and more of that. Because the dumb ones were always going to be bad at it. That's just a way that they found. That's the easiest way for them to be bad at the thing. So we agree with Jake here.
I will
on this.
Die on that hill. If you think the punchline is a slur, you're just a bad writer.
Okay, but you got to be careful with those absolutes, right? Like, because there are some. There are some. For instance, just kidding. You're not going to get me.
And also,
those are for the car.
He's trying to do like the shocky, like I'm gonna be the most raunchy, the meanest, I'm gonna say the craziest thing.
At this roast, where you're supposed to get up and say raunchy, mean, crazy things about the person, and that's like the whole format.
And that's just not for me, and it did seem like sometimes it was not for that general audience either. And this is the only joke I'm gonna highlight because it was bad. He made a George Floyd joke.
It really wasn't even that funny at all. But again, you guys have made it funny. Everyone clutching their pearls, and Tony Hinchcliffe did it again. It's like, yeah. They're not as dumb as you think that they are, is maybe the takeaway you guys should have from this. Because everyone, again, I brought this up last episode, but that's why it's water off a duck's back. Because none of you guys are doing any research. There's so much about Tony that you could really tear into. His narcissism alone would give you all of the rich comedic material you could want, and also actually get to him a little bit. But they don't do that. They're like, well, you're a Nazi and you're a Trumper, and so all we have to say is you support white supremacy and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's not, history doesn't really reflect that. Reality doesn't really reflect that. It's a bad balloon animal. It's like this thing is 3 legs and 1 ear, and you're telling me it's a dog. And I'm like, I don't know. It looks more like a 3-legged, 1-eared alien. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
2020.
This is my calm down druid chord. It was also my granting Shane Gillis forgiveness chord. So we'll hear the rest of this out. We can't. God knows I'd love to sit here and listen to Jake Weddle with you all day.
6.
We had a George
Floyd joke.
Right, so that was my point, is that like, the George Floyd joke, just like the Puerto Rico joke, in totality, in its structure, wasn't funny or necessarily very well written. It was just kind of like like a lot of things that Tony gets into, which I'm very into, but it's wordplay. It's kind of pun-based. Get it? Because that was the thing he said he couldn't do, and also, what when you're laughing too hard you can't do you? Understand the correlation I've created? And he surrounds it in a bunch of, like, triggering words. He knew he was going to go viral for this again. You can just keep setting him up to win, and that, to me, is funny.
In 2026...
It's hack, for sure it's hack. I would never debate that a lot of what goes on in the Rogan sphere and on stage at Kill Tony is pretty fucking hacky. Every now and again you see something special, but 90% of it is hacky. I don't think that's lost on really, and I can't say on anyone. But for the rest of we Pacostamai, it's not really lost on us. Like we know it's hack. There's just not really anything really like it out there. And man, maybe there should be. Fuck.
Where the punchline was, I can't breathe.
Yeah, okay, yep.
And it felt so shoehorned.
Because he knew it was going to piss everybody off. I mean, even the Puerto Rico joke was incredibly shoehorned in. It's because it's on purpose. Because he was saying a thing and then he wanted to force this, to shoehorn this foot of, being more offensive into the boot of the greater speech he was making in either case.
Like, how do I squeeze a George Floyd joke in here?
Yeah, because the joke wasn't, LOL, George Floyd died. The joke was, look how mad everyone's going to get about this. In my opinion, I think that was what he was doing, just like it was with the Puerto Rico thing. Though with the Puerto Rico thing, I think there were a lot more... I think Tony was going to do his thing, and the powers that be saw the advantages that might provide. And it's so obvious to me that that's exactly what went down, but everyone is like, I don't know about that. Anyway.
And
do you really think that they let him go up there? Like, if you're giving a speech at your high school graduation, they have to review it before you say it. They don't let you just go up and wing it. And that's in a shitty high school, alternative, in my case, high school production. You think that on the final campaign's rally for this crucial election where he's kind of necking that, whatever the case, this is a very important moment in world history. Do you think that Tony Hinchcliffe they were just like, oh, comedian who's known for saying offensive things, sure, yeah, just let him have the run of the roost. Let him say whatever he's going to say. They definitely knew that he was going to say those things. They knew people were going to react that way, but most importantly, they knew that the centrists who were like, oh, I'm sick of being told I can't say F-slur. They knew that was going to tip tip them over into the right. That was going to take them from being like, I don't know, I vote based on the things I believe in and blah, da, 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 da. And then they heard that and everyone got mad and it's like, oh, you can't make jokes. And this was the legalized comedy era because it was a huge manipulation tactic they used on the new right to get them to vote for someone that they probably otherwise would not have voted for. 100%. It's it seems blatantly obvious to me because why would they have let him just say whatever? But everyone I've ever brought it up to is like, that's crazy. Okay.
Fucked up.
Fine, then I'll save it for CTE and I'll talk about it in a year.
The delivery. He stumbled on his words. And yeah, it's live. And yeah, they've been drinking, but it was...
Ty Rivera also called him out for that. He did get a bit of a flat tire.
So
as they'd call it on the regs.
Cringe for me to sit there
Jake, your arm tattoos are just terrible, bro. You should be embarrassed of those arm tattoos. You know, people can see your arms, man.
And watch him fuck up an already bad George Floyd joke. And it got no laughs. He had the...
I mean, it got the reaction that he wanted. It was groans. Everyone went, oh, which is what it was for, man. And I mean that, like, colloquially, not in any kind of, you know, specific designation.
To move on real quick. So, yeah, he's just a smarmy piece of shit. Fuck Tony Hinchcliffe. That guy sucks. These next two...
That was a great way to end that. So this is takes from Jake. Jake's Takes. Welcome to the Jake's Takes Corner, where we hear the latest in takes from the greatest of Jakes. Now let's go ahead, move on. Let's wash our palate with some cleansing chords here. And we're going to move on to, what do we have next on the show notes here? Oh, wow. Okay. So, the other day I was maybe watching MSSP, Matt and Shane's Secret podcast, which fucks. Somebody who I respect very much said in the comments that they enjoy the show, or enjoyed it at one point, so I was like, I respect this person's mind. Let me go check out this MSSP. And at some point throughout the checking out of MSSP, I hear them say this.
That's sick.
In the Texas zone.
It blows. I went for a walk yesterday. It was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Talk about hot. Talk about heat in the South. It's for real.
I should have put on sunscreen. I forgot.
What time did you...
At least one of them is a northern man. Yeah, Shane's from Pennsylvania. Harrisburg.
Go.
Told you I'm not a nerd. Shane likes sports, so I like him, and not a nerd for it. Always liked him, and didn't recently have to admit publicly that I was wrong. What's going on, Jake LaMountain? WSP to you as well.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
We're just switching over to the Matt and Shane's Secret podcast, and they said something that felt a little bit close to home.
That's like
fucking terrible.
Absolute heat of the day.
Yeah.
If you catch like a 8 a.m. when the sun's just kind of just getting settled, it's so nice.
I'm not catching that.
Catch it.
Not with this schedule.
Yeah, true.
I'm dying, brother.
Yeah, you must be tired.
I'm tired.
You must be tired.
Dude, we did a show.
Okay, let me check my time codes here. This is embarrassing. Podcast is very loud compared to you. Oh, thank you, Jake. I appreciate you immensely. Okay. Oh, here's my time codes. Boom, pap. Let's go ahead and pull this back.
Wow, wow, West. It's time to go.
Make sure we're on the
Time to
right
face.
thing here.
You gotta face up to the nasty things you said.
Yeah, man.
Oh no, things are happening. Okay. All right, we're good. MSSP. Okay, here we go.
We're finding out as brothers.
You live by the eye nasty, you die by the eye nasty.
So they're talking about eye nasty. This is some kind of reference to something they've talked about previously, I'm sure. I think the eye nasty is just like being kind of nasty on the internet, being a little bit shitty, pretty much doing what I do, I suppose. At least what people seem to interpret what I do as.
It's true.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
We were truly peak eye nasty between 2016 and 2019. The Nasty Brothers.
So they were part of this eye nasty thing. I think it's just getting online and saying crazy shit.
And now,
because I believe that was when the old clip resurfaced and got him fired from SNL and all that.
oh man, you gotta really come.
I think it's radon poisoning. We were in the basement.
True.
You're in the basement, you're breathing in radon, you start going like, that guy's not that funny.
Okay. I don't think there's any radon down here. Finger tastes like piano.
I'm funnier. Yeah, we were on
I should
nasty.
be the one on TV.
we were on
I would be mad at people's like late night sets. I would see like
Okay, so yeah, they're talking about how they used to be online, but they give some sage advice. So let's hear them out.
a woman do a fucking Conan set, and I'd be like, fucking bitch. Like, why do I care?
Just what happens, dude.
It is what happens. It
I mean,
happens to everybody.
my thing is, I'll never forget. Like, I remember.
Ooh, they hit us with those surprise ads. Kind of make you jump when you're trying to fall asleep. Or they won't, and you'll just end up waking up to Ben Shapiro telling you his lunch that he had with the bread.
Like working, being a young man and being like, I need to get a job and establish myself in the world, and I would like work at LA.
It seems like they've sort of pulled back on those a little bit. Let me know your experience with those black hole ads, as I've called them before. Let me know what your experience is with them, because it bothers the shit out. Like, I'll be in the shower, I'll hit like oh cool soda or whatever, and I'll put it on, I'll let it play while I'm showering. I wish it was Red Bar. And then 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, however many minutes in, it'll just cut to an ad that will just keep going for the duration of my hot water. It feels invasive. Feels like it should be illegal. But I've noticed since I called it out, they've been cutting back. So you never know.
Fitness.
Those 40 views could be anyone.
For like 30 minutes and like go out to my car and cry. Like, it's so grim. It's so hard.
It's nasty.
So if you have the outlet, dude, yeah, I used to go out
Talking about I see.
myself in the world, and I would like work at LA Fitness for like 30 minutes and like go out to my car and cry. Like, it's so grim. It's so hard.
It's nasty.
So if you have the outlet, dude, yeah, I used to go iNasty on YouTube. I would just see a video of like a guy like recording a swim meet, and I'd be like, pedophile, weirdo. He'd be like, hey, this is my family channel, and I'd be like, pedophile, 10 likes, yes.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Great example of why you block ads. I know, I gotta do it. And it's funny because I always see people talk about in the comments like, oh, I forgot what the internet was like before an ad blocker. I have never used one. I've just been out here, get good. Yeah, no shit, dude. I'm telling you, I got to. It's it becomes your entire experience is just trying to avoid them inundating you with the like, buy this fucking thing. And the volume is always at 150%, which is classic commercial.
Let's go.
Ad blocker was your experience. All right, well, that's smart. If you want to approach it in a tactical, maybe practical kind of way, if that's what you're fucking into.
Yeah.
Okay, Firefox and the uBlock origin. Thank you. I'm going to write that down when I'm reviewing the show later. I appreciate that, Jake. Good looking out, my man.
Careful with all the iNasty warriors out there.
No, man.
So here's the sage advice, because I think that we may be one of these INWs he's talking about. Maybe not specifically. We probably fall under the blanket address.
Let's go.
Yeah. Be careful with all the iNasty warriors out there.
No, man.
Eventually, you're going to have to face who you were nasty to.
Oh, God, can you imagine? That'd be so cool. It's like Jake Weddle at a grocery store. They're like,
And then you're going to go, man, I was being such a bitch.
bro, I was just kidding, it's like an online good persona. You're all pop culture to me.
Dude, I'm so sorry.
The worst is when you don't even remember.
Yeah.
See, this feels like it's relevant. Hits a little close to home.
I'll see stuff and I'll be like, huh? No, but I never said. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't remember. I don't even remember that.
Yeah. When I got fired for being iNasty, I was like, nuh-uh. I would never say that.
It happens.
You get in that flow state. And you're one of the bottom of the barrel people like we are, like me are. Well, then you might just get your iNasty might just catch up to you. Some of the moral of the story there. I'm sure there's some kind of cohesiveness. So, next on show notes. We get to our proof regarding Sheryl Underwood and how she rules.
Wild Wild West.
A lot of wild, wild wests flying around. Can you tell that I've been sampling the podcast? Can you tell that I'm like, it's the first minute or so of a couple different episodes? You can sort of tell. Yeah. It's just a lot. It's a lot for me to take on another podcast of just like a couple of people talking to each other about stuff. These are a cool couple of people, admittedly. Right? So you can hear them out. I really, really enjoyed Matt McCusker's special, Speed of Light, I think it was. And I did not go into it expecting to like it. And then Shane, I've just, as you all know, I very recently came out and granted forgiveness. To Shane, because I used to think he was a sellout, and then he turned on the Riyadh thing, and you can't be both. Yeah. So anyway, then Shane's secret podcast with guest Sheryl Underwood, who's been in the headlines recently in the comedy commentary world.
Is that all your crew?
Yeah.
See, it's the same way with that.
She's very quiet. You need to get a little closer to the microphone, Sheryl. I know you've been doing comedy for 30 years, but take it from me, a guy without a mic.
Yeah.
Everybody work with crew. Keep confidences. Don't talk too much.
No, they talk. These guys, these three are a problem. They get a couple whiskeys every night at the open mics, or not the open mics. You know what I mean?
But they tell stuff.
Oh yeah.
They fight. They fight amongst each other with
amongst each other immediately.
Mine started negotiating and gang up on me. I'm like, who the fuck?
So she must have a podcast. We're gonna have to just look that up. Let me go pop over here real quick. Sheryl Underwood podcast. So the whole thing with Sheryl Underwood is her husband KMS'd himself many years ago, and Shane made a joke about that at the roast. Well, everyone thought that was kind of over the line, and it's been lumped in with like being a terrible joke that shouldn't have been made, right alongside the George Floyd joke of Tony Hinchcliffe, the aforementioned. So looking up her podcast here, often associated with Sheryl Underwood Radio, is an all-access, what's it called? Why don't they? Okay, Sheryl Underwood Radio. We'll have to check that out in the meantime. So
cut their heads like this.
Just because she said she's really into comedy analytics, and I would like to hear a professional talk about it.
The second they unionize, they're dead.
So they're currently talking about their producers, their off-screen cast, the lesser-known characters, if you will.
They're dead.
This is no union.
Yeah.
No.
We're going to get along great. I'm going to try this with they asses.
Yeah.
It'd be like Napoleon's cannon right into the French people's
Grape shot. Right away. Actually, I know Kyle from this is a. So you ever hear I talk about the time I was at the Laughing Skull Comedy Festival and I was in the green room and it was the men's U.S. soccer team just lost, and one of the lady comics walked in and was like, "Men's."
So right now we're just kind of getting to know Sheryl a little bit. This is the very beginning. We've got some time codes to go through because I was a little bit proactive on this particular one.
Team lost. They suck. I guess they still get paid more than the women, and I was just the one guy who was like, well, it's because they're not as good. and there was one guy in the room with me that was like, don't do it.
So she's laughing along because she knows that that's intentionally kind of trolling this person. Cheryl's got a good sense of humor, we're finding.
That was Kyle. Kyle was sitting next to me going, why are you doing this? And I was like, hold on a second.
had to be done.
You were trying to warn him about this.
He was like, don't need to do this.
See, he is our Jim Kelly.
We were in the wrong room for it.
Well, why?
Because it was just
Was it a bunch of women?
Yes. And even the guys were women.
Yeah.
The whole group, every single guy in there was like, well, women are just as good at sports.
Yeah.
It's just like, you pussy, you never played sports.
Once you see a bitch get CTE, I have respect.
I think they're born with it.
Jesus Christ, it's hilarious. Okay, so we're going to cut to our time code here. We're going to 14:45. So I've done next to no getting to know Sheryl yet, but I feel like she'll probably become a relevant character here in our little universe.
That's why I say what I
Here
say.
in our little corner of the Rogan sphere, the Mike David sphere, as it was put by American Redact, who we're not covering today. I've got a little bit of a Redact over. An Americover. Take the first one. I have a bit of a Redact over, so just letting my palate cleanse. We'll probably cover Redact next week. I know everyone here loves to see me go after the prince himself.
And the times that we live in. But I think that's why I say what I said at the roast. You're not going to agree. It's a roast, and it's a new generation of roast.
This is what we kind of touched on earlier.
It's no longer Rimshot, Don Rickles, Dean Martin, Pearl Bailey, Lucille Ball.
And it wasn't in a small room.
I should have
It was in an arena on
got a hi-hat here
national
and everything.
television. We've never met.
That's right. And it's intimate.
Yeah.
Right. But what I liked about it was you could see the camaraderie. And I think even talking about the George.
See, she's talking about the camaraderie on the dais. Everyone, like, they're all comedians. They don't know each other, but, like, they all have a respect for the same art form. They're all, you know.
George Floyd joke that Tony told. But
She says, even the George Floyd joke that Tony told.
I think even talking.
The infamous one.
About the George Floyd joke that Tony told. But I believe on the side of the Cookout crew, Pete Davidson represented with the Charlie Kirk joke.
Yep, agreed. Which was also hilarious for the reactions that it's getting online. Very, very, very funny. Pete Davidson's the funniest I've ever seen him be. I was blown away when I heard that. I was like, oh shit. Now that's a damn good roast joke. Lightly topical, very extreme in its phrasing, and catered to a person's, you know, balloon animal traits. You know what I mean? The things that you go after when you roast. Like when people roast David Lucas, he's fat. He's got the crazy hair and he's fat. People roast Tony, he's gay. He's a little gay twink man who's gay. Like, it's, you know, everyone's got their kind of balloon animal components, and that's what in traditional roasting, what I've gathered, is what they tend to go after. So the whole guys blowing loads. You check out the. I don't want to fuck up the joke.
I agree.
I don't think they're gonna play a clip or anything.
You got to be offended by both or neither.
Pretty sage, pretty sagacious. You got to be offended by both or neither.
That's how I felt about that.
That's right. But you should be. The reaction should be offense. The Floyd family should be upset. There should be a crew of people that are mad because that's the reaction you have, right? Because you're not thinking about freedom of speech. You're thinking about your brother who was murdered by a system. But on the same token, I tell people it's a roast and it's a new generation of roasters because everybody's like, sure, how did you feel that they talked about your dead husband committing suicide? Okay, it really truly happened, and it happened over 30 years ago.
Also, I called you.
Yes, and that's why I said, well, remember, when I did all the interviews.
I would never ever do that without,
Yeah.
This, first of all, is cool. It's great to hear. Shane called ahead of time and was like, hey, I don't know you or anything, but I want to make this joke. Is that cool? Very cool move on Shane's part, and his port. But it's also, no thank you. I like my viewers human and snarky.
Well, I said, well, remember, when I did all the interviews.
I would never ever do that without,
Yeah, but let me tell you something, Shane. Knowing you, knowing Tony.
Oh, he called ahead, and she was like, "Yeah, run it. Like you gotta do it."
Like I'm sitting next to Tony.
This is hilarious. Jake Weddle, listen up, Monfrup.
Motherfucker is ordering Crown and Coke.
She's sitting next to Tony Hinchcliffe.
Knowing Tony, like I'm sitting next to Tony. This motherfucker is ordering Crown and Coke, and I'm like. So people think you a bigot, but you really a black man.
I bet the Weddles of the world did not see that coming, so to speak.
You look like
see
Tom
his
Robbins.
apartment.
Oh, it's a black film. It's a black film. It's crazy. I said that's what I thought.
I mean, crazy.
That's exactly what I.
Has a throne. He has a
He has like 2 or 3 different
never
gold
thought about
thrones.
that.
I was there 2 minutes ago.
You lying.
It's literally the blackest place I've ever seen in my life.
I'm telling you,
It's
that's the feeling
fucking
I
wild.
got sitting next to him. I was like, "You black? You either something? Who beat him up in school?"
I think a lot.
Kind of crazy to see all these people out here being, virtue signaling and being like, I don't think stuff like that is funny. It's not funny and it's unfair. It's unfair to the other races and it's not fun. And then Sheryl Underwood comes on and just breaks it the fuck down. Is this what based is? Guys, is this based? I didn't know about ad blockers. Based confuses me. Is that based? That's based, right?
A lot of people. He got his ass whooped a lot, if I had to guess.
He took a Spider-Man bite.
He's just kept getting beat up.
And see, to me, I would love to see Tony and Cat Williams in a buddy cop movie.
I would also love to see that.
That would be hilarious.
Man.
2 little motherfuckers with big attitudes
Yeah.
in a movie.
Couldn't agree with you more, Cheryl. Hilarious idea. Okay, I am going to hit le restroom. I'm going to get prepared because when I get back, we will be doing a reading from Corey Feldman's autobiography, Choreography. And then we'll be doing our breakdown of Shane Mauss's new comedy special, Second Dose. Stick around. Shout out Bard Fox. I'll be right back. Coming back soon. Song pulled up here because we need something a little more chill for our reading sessions, right? You know, you think about this a lot like back in elementary school. You remember you'd get back from like lunch or whatever and they'd read you a story to kind of usher you into the halfway point of your long day. Well, we do the same kind of thing here. And it is, of course, that story time. When we last found Corey Feldman, his dog had just attacked his friend, and he was getting used to being carted around by his grandparents to go to these different shoots. He was on commercials when he was a kid, but now he was starting to get roles on series. He was on a show with Chado, who he knew as the Coochie Coochie Girl. But with increasing frequency, the responsibility to cart me to and from my shoots fell to one of my grandparents. This also meant, mercifully, that I was still spending a lot of time at their house, even if I was technically no longer living there. Oh, he also talked about his father wanting to become a rock star. Okay. His dad was in a band, and they're sort of a psychedelic rock band. They had a handful of middle-aged women who would go. Let me see, what's the line here? Okay. Sometime later, he formed Scream with a few of his buddies, and they somehow managed to accumulate a loyal following of several hundred women who would travel from amusement park to amusement park, mad for my father in his vintage plaid shirt, which he wore unbuttoned practically down to his navel, exposing a forest of curly black chest hair. When he wasn't busy performing, he sometimes took me with him to one of several rehearsal rooms he frequented. Very often, these turned out to be someone's dank and dirty garage, lit up with black lights and lava lamps and reeking of dope. Sometimes the drummer might pull me onto his lap during a song, and I would feel the pulse of the bass drum reverberate through my body, the nearness of the cymbal crash both exciting and terrifying. If I was lucky, one or two of my dad's bandmates would bring along their kids, and we'd play on the floor of the rehearsal room, the feedback from the old 76 Fender amps ringing in our ears. Finally, after what felt like a year of waiting, I woke up one morning and realized that my father was home. I had smelled the familiar, musty, skunky smell of smoke wafting beneath the door of my parents' bedroom. When I peered around the edge of the doorframe, there he was, lounging in his bell-bottom jeans and the thick black dress socks he always wore stretched halfway up his shins, watching football. I hadn't had so much as a game of catch with my dad, and I wasn't an innately athletic child. I much preferred the sketch comedy and variety shows that Mindy and I watched in my mom's room. I hovered near the door to the bedroom until, eventually, I summoned the courage to tell him my news. He seemed impressed. You like Sean Cassidy, huh? You want to see him in concert? That would be fun, I told him. Well, I'll find out when he's coming to town, and I'll take you. For weeks, I fantasized about what it might be like to attend my first real concert, what it might be like to see Sean Cassidy, the teen dream, in person, close enough to reach out and touch. Of course, my dad never got the tickets. He left again, and I didn't see him for nearly a month. This has been a reading of the autobiography written by Corey Feldman, Choreography. It's, way more depressing than I anticipated, but I think that makes it kind of funny, right? It's kind of funny that is so wildly, sad. Is that funny? Anyway, we are going to jump into some Shane Mauss stuff, but I went a little long on the Weddle content, as all I want to do, and I want to make sure we cover this very short clip This is important, and this is something that not all of the comedy commentary channels are covering. And I have my theories as to why, but I'm a little confused because this is the only actual beef that's come out of the whole thing, and it involves our main man, the ever horny Big Jay Oakerson. Biggie J, as I've just called him.
And here's
what is it? What is this? Tell us what this is.
It's just something I was told.
So this is from his show, The Bonfire, on Sirius XM. He's always plugging it during Story Wars. It's a radio show he does with the great Robert Kelly. You know what, dude? That guy. Who I like and is a hero. Factually. Saved a little kid down in Aruba or something.
DL Hughley was talking about the roasts.
I always thought it was Hughley, but I think it's Hughley. It is a GH combo. So I think it is DL Hughley. But let's go back.
DL Hughley was talking about the roasts.
Ooh.
You want me to play it?
Lewis Thomas, if you could, yeah. I know we got to go pretty soon.
I could never imagine working on the same panel.
DL Hughley wearing sunglasses inside, so already a little bit of a kind of a tasteless move.
Oh, with a dude who I believe to be a Nazi, and I do.
So he says there's this dude. We'll go back.
Working on the same panel.
I could never imagine working on the same panel with a dude who I believe to be a Nazi, he says.
With a dude who I believe to be a Nazi, and I do. When a white dude says he wants freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff, it's really just to say...
I mean... No, but again, on the real, there are some people who that is true for. Vastly complicated. We're not going to get into the whole freedom of speech thing right now. Right, we're not going to.
I knew when I saw the lineup for that roast, I knew it would be...
I mean, just stop. I mean, can I just say something, though?
Here comes Robert Kelly to short take.
Let's go from you to Shane to a Nazi. Look,
he calls Tony Hinchcliffe, outright calls Tony Hinchcliffe a Nazi, which is hilarious and a weird move from Robert Kelly. Just because I imagine the same people who coined who began calling Tony a Nazi, a lot of those people would hear Robert Kelly's comedy and think he is exactly the same. So maybe that's what it is. He's like a Boston comedian, and he's like, I'm not like those dudes, dude. Dude, I don't like that kind of stuff.
Looks like
he's a Nazi. But what he's referring to is that as DL Hughley was talking,
no, it does go from.
He says
stuff. It's really just to say,
when a white comedian's talking about free speech, really what he wants is to say the N-word.
But I knew when I saw the lineup.
I knew when I saw the lineup for that roast, and as soon as he says, I knew when I saw the lineup for that roast, he puts a big-ass picture of Big Jay Oakerson on screen.
For that roast.
And then Shane, and then Tony Hinchcliffe.
I mean, just stop. I mean, can I just say something, though? It does go from you to Shane to a Nazi. It looks like the SS.
So what are you saying?
Tony has no eyebrows. I never noticed that.
Years ago, he was at a Nazi rally, and now he's with it was on Jumanji.
And play it again.
They said it's implied. It's implied because they show your picture. So he's obviously talking about Tony. He's talking about him doing the Trump rally, but then he shows pictures of you and Shane and groups you in.
I saw this group. You saw this group in what? This fucking pontificating asshole. Be funny, face, for 5 seconds. Stop bitching.
There's the one thing
I'm tired of watching black guys in fucking Django hats fucking tell me how the world works now and let me know that I'm a Nazi. It's fucking hilarious. A bunch of fucking stooges.
Lewis commented.
Yeah, no, I know. Lewis went into it, but it's the same. The word Nazi means something. Exactly. It's probably not Jewish people. Yet again, fucking dumb DL Hughley.
Jay is Jewish, so oops. Here's what I think. First of all, this is going to be cool. We're going to keep an eye on this beef. I think fried plantain, the I thought it was AI because his voice is weird and auto-tuned, but the other day there's like a face. Could be AI. Still, I don't know. I don't know how the internet works before AI showed up, so I don't know. But Fried Plantains, the show, they post daily. And it's a lot of like black comedians, news and drama and stuff. Like I first got onto Fried Plantain during the Vlad Ari Spears drama that's been going on. So he is the only person I've seen cover this. Which, in summary here, why would the big dogs of the comedy commentary sphere, why would they all put out the same video while there's this other actual drama going on? And I'll tell you why. It's because they know that regardless of their opinions, they may or may not have. Some of them, I think, are critical thinkers. The other ones are analysts. The other ones go, how many views do I get when I say Tony Hinchcliffe is a Nazi? How many views do I say that people that like kill Tony are the bottom of the barrel, bottom feeder people of humanity? It's like, I get this many, huh? Sweet. And that's why they're not following this drama, which is actually interesting. That DL Hughley indirectly referred to Big Jay Oakerson, a Jewish man, as a Nazi. It's like he was talking about the lineup and the white boys that just want free speech, and I've never heard Jay talk about any of that shit at all. It's like, and putting him in with Shane and Tony, I think is literally because he's like an edgy comedian who is also pink. But also, I gotta say this, I hugely doubt that DL Hughley, the DL Hughley, is doing his own editing. I think when DL was talking about this, he was probably saying, like, Tony Hinchcliffe without saying Tony Hinchcliffe, and Shane because he kind of fits in because there was the whole, like, Saturday Night Live thing, right? But then the editor came in and was like, put Big J's face in there, I think, because rule of threes. And Big J also says some borderline, like, racial comedy stuff, right? He's from Philadelphia. Like, that's like why his whole thing, he's very, very light on his feet. Like, he's quick, real quick. And he came up performing in black clubs and stuff. That's like a big part of his origin story. So I don't know that this was even DL Hughley that like implied this on purpose. I think it was the editor who was like, probably right, because if it's true enough about Shane, if it's true about Tony and then true enough about Shane, then still true enough for Big Jay Oakerson, I guess. I don't blame Jay for getting mad about it, but it does seem to me to be a little bit of a miscommunication. But Jay came back at him pretty hard, so who knows? We could have some cool shit unfolding here. Now wait, because when this comes out, some of the other comedy comment, by the time this comes out on Monday, it's currently Thursday, by the time this comes out Monday, some of the other comedy commentary channels, if they're worth a fucking damn, will have put out a video about this, because I didn't see any of the mainstream guys doing it. You redact, but not for like too long. Okay, that was awesome. That's our comedy commentary coverage for today. Now we get in and we start to focus on my main man, who I don't think I've actually met, but it seems like I've met at least one of, Shane Mauss. We're going to meet him over here on Soder. Do I have any time codes for this in particular? Can we just... Okay, yep. We're just going to start right at the beginning, and we're going to go until the ad read. So let's hear what Soder has to say. Skipping the dates. He's going to be in Key West, Florida, Newark, New Jersey, and Batavia. Anyway, he's going to be all over. Check out dansoder.com for dates and tickets. I hear too many of these ads. These are the ads you can't block, Jake. These are the ads.
City apartments that people don't.
Here we go. Soda time.
The part about New York City apartments that people don't understand is it's not like if that would have happened in the suburbs, you would just go, "Is this your house?" And you go up and you go, "Well, he lives next door."
Yeah.
But New York City, you're like, "Hey, I'm in the
the market.
The meat
This feels a little out.
refrigerator of a market. Is this your apartment?" And you go, "No." And then you check. Completely, I gave you the completely wrong address. That's fucking.
It wasn't of the number.
So Shane Mauss, for those of you who don't know what he looks like and obviously can't see him here, looks like a young wizard. He's got sort of very long, straight red hair. He's got a very long, straight red beard. Eyes very similarly squinty to my own. I was recently confused for a man who was half Chinese the other day. This was incidental. I'm just stretching my wrists. I didn't mean for this to be like a height thing. But yeah, anyway, so he's got, if I wasn't wearing these prescription shades here, I would have eyes very similar to Shane Mauss's. Yeah, he's kind of wearing a loose fitting tee underneath flannel. Seems to be a theme today. So. And then they're gonna talk a little bit. We'll get to know him.
First to have wrong. It was a decent one.
It was
one block away.
Yeah. If it would have been the first
gentlemen, this is not podcast talk.
Number, it probably would have really fucked some shit up.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like
and then it becomes because he's gonna ask.
It's unfair for you as a person that enjoys drugs.
Right. That's the other thing is he looks like a total stoner.
That in that moment, I was like. How many people in that moment go, "He's probably on drugs"? Not realizing
the drug he is. Yeah,
it was my fault.
Yeah.
The drug use.
I'm on drugs too, but weed's not even a drug. It's
I get asked to do so many psychedelic events, and I'm like, let me guess, well-meaning, terribly organized.
Yep. Yeah, they have been in bands where we've played those. Like whole festivals that are supposed to be all about that, and you get out there and it's somebody's property, but there's like no real camp spots, and there's like porta potty, and there's way like too many people there for the area or for the venue, or there's like nobody there, and it was well set up, but they didn't really advertise very well or whatever. I've seen these firsthand. He's right.
And this is
I've seen these as a performer firsthand, not as a stand-up comedian. That's not my bag.
Gonna be a nightmare.
For those of you that don't know Shane Mauss, go watch Shane
Mauss. It's pronounced Moss.
Mauss.
Spelled Mauss.
He is one of he's just a fucking fantastic stand-up comedian.
Cool. So I started hearing this, and I started going, "Oh, do we have something?" Because this came out like 2 days ago, maybe. Literally 2 days ago. So yeah, this came out for you. It was last Tuesday. So I start hearing this, and I'm like, yes, we are going to get back into the who did it worst thing, but in order to get Burn the Boats, I have to pull a whole bunch of strings, and I would like to do Burn the Boats when I finally reveal my new like studio setup thing. I would like to do Burn the Boats then. However, it's going to take some doing, so the Who Did It Worst series is still ongoing, but we're going to do something else today, and that's just hearing out this comedian who, according to Dan Soder, is very, very good.
And the thing that I love about it is...
And I believe he's one of the ones who really talked up Ronan. I think we watched Ronan. Oh, he was with Joe List. They were doing like a Toy Story movie review thing. It was good. Really good movie. You know what I liked about it was the symbolism. It's just really good,
I remember watching...
I love Ronan Hirschberg, but it just cracks me up. 5 bags of popcorn.
You when we were booze buddies.
Yeah.
And we'd go do stand-up. The thing that's great is you had this whole evolution and did, experiences with DMT and all these... He's got a special out right now called First Dose. The second dose is coming out April 13th. I think this might come out after.
Second dose is what we're watching.
So go watch it. It's great. I watched half of the first one, and I love the entire idea of you explaining drug trips.
Somebody said this in the comments today, which really cracked me up, because I was listening to Mark Norman and Sam Morril talk about the roast, and like the number one comment on the clip said, I love how these comedians will be like, I didn't watch the roast, or I didn't watch that comedy special, but I know it's good. And it's true. It's so very weird. And I think one of the things that makes Shane seemingly so down to earth, what makes Shane Gillis like everyone's favorite dude, is that he does actually pay attention to the shows that his friends are doing. Now, Soder watched the first half of this other special, but doesn't that feel like a little bit of a slap in the face? You know, your friends come see you play, and halfway through your fourth song, you're about halfway through your set, and you look out and they like take off, and you're like, you just go back to rock it out, show must go on. But it's like, it is a little bit of a like, did you have an emergency, or did I just lose you? So I imagine hearing that Soder only listened to the first half. Who knows? Probably doesn't affect the guy, right? Knowing his egos. It's really uncool to have an ego nowadays.
But through jokes.
Yeah.
My ego resents that.
A lot of times people do this shit and they just talk.
Yeah.
But you're still that's what I said when I told Katie when I watched it. I go, it's awesome to watch you do material about drugs and you're still Shane Mauss.
Yeah.
You're still like writing great bits.
So it started, I transitioned from doing regular stand-up to doing science-themed shows.
Sure.
And then
What made you want to do that? You just were bored with stand-up?
Honestly, I remember I got my Comedy Central Presents in like 09.
Yeah.
And that was like my dream at the time. I remember when I started comedy, I was like, if I just had a Comedy Central Presents in like 5 years, boy, then I'd really be on something. And that was like an unrealistic expectation, but I did it. And I remembered I like had this party in this bar and friends and family around and stuff. And I just remember going, and like killed it, loved the taping, and then I was like, I'm not happy. Like,
Really? Was it at the after party?
Really, really, really cool that then he pivoted. I respect that so much in an artist. When they're doing something that people seemingly like, but they get sick of it, so then they go on to do something else. There have been times where that's happened, where I have resented the artist as a fan of that person, when during the era when emo killed pop punk and took its name. Fall Out Boy came out, and then right after that, Blink-182 put out their self-titled album, I Miss You, Miss You. They went from like, I want to fuck a dog in the ass, to I miss you, I'm feeling this. Green Day went from Nimrod and Dookie and put out American Idiot with Wake Me Up When September Ends. Sum 41 went from All Killer, No Filler to Does This Look Infected with like the Hell song, and just everything got sad. Everyone was now like sharing their feelings, and it stopped being like, shit's crazy out there, but let's be funny and play happy music. Like, when pop punk died, I got really into ska for that reason. And it's funny because a lot of the kids who were very like, cut my wrists and black my eyes, like all those kids had it really good. I was like, what do you have to cut your wrists and black your fucking eyes about, you babies? People who are in it like ska. Anyway, so there have been times throughout history where I have really resented when an artist does that, when they pivot. They decide, I'm done with the thing. And I think in the case of what I just was talking about, I think it's more of like the market's going this way, we're going to pivot after it. But in the case of Shane Mauss, the whole like, I just wasn't happy doing what I was doing, even though I was successful doing it, so I did something else. It's artistic integrity, man. I respect the fuck out of that right out of the gates. I haven't heard any of his work, but just the way he talks about his own career is so rare, wildly, unbelievably rare. You would think that would be the go-to, but unfortunately, capitalism and art and all that. But good on Shane for finding another way to make it work, and pivoting, as he's about to talk about.
It was after that, and then I wrote an hour, to like do an hour, and I was like, boy, I just don't care about this. And
what changed? Because I think like. The thing about joke writing that's interesting is it's just figuring out a puzzle a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Where I have this idea, but how do I make this idea do this thing of making people laugh?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the joy in joke writing is figuring it out. But when you did the new hour, were you just like, whatever?
It was like a lot of drinking and dick jokes and stuff, and I was like, And then I was doing, I was doing international shows where they're doing these themed shows, I was like a late night comic, and I was like, well, what would my theme be? And I was always just reading science books, and I never put the two together that I could put science in my act. And then anyone that ever tries to do science jokes, it's always like late nighty, like you read a headline and then have a
snarky response.
Yeah.
Like, Mars might not be as far. They go, Mars isn't as far as my ex-wife's fucking. Yeah.
Lame. And I was like, I care about ideas. Like, I like to eat mushrooms and watch David Attenborough documentaries and stuff.
Who doesn't?
And that was literally what I was doing, and I had all.
Me anymore. Regular Planet Earth was sweet. Planet Earth 2 is not a fun trip, man. You get to the end of Planet Earth 2 and you're like, oh, fuck, dude. All that beautiful shit that was on the first one that made the world feel so big and beautiful is dead and gone, and we killed it, and we're killing the rest of it too. Fuck.
All these questions.
Probably an important message, but nowhere near as fun a message.
So I was just like in a funk, and I just started writing scientists, and then they like wrote back, and I was like, that's so weird.
He was writing letters to scientists, and they started writing it back.
They're writing me back.
But I feel like out of celebrities...
All right, we've gotten to know him a little bit. I feel like the artistic integrity of it all, seeing how he got to this sort of themed show, because from what I've seen in the screenshots and what I've seen at just clicking it, he's got a really cool like screen behind him that's playing all these like visual things. It's a highly psychedelic show. So obviously this is in no way supposed to be a replacement for the actual video, the original content, so go watch that if you're curious to see it in its original form. I'm going to be transformationaling it into something entirely different, and that falls under fair use. So you won't get to see the visuals, but we got some pretty cool visuals here, right, guys?
They've changed so much.
So we'll go back. This is Shane Mauss's second dose, which in Spanish is redundant. By the way, this is on 800-pound Gorilla Media. 35K views, which is a little bit low for him, unfortunately, but excuse me, not for him. It's a little bit low for 800-pound Gorilla Media. So you don't love to see that, but I am excited to hear his writing, because what's popular is so seldom what's good.
Times have changed so much. I mean,
except for Daft Punk, who rules.
9-10 years ago, no one knew what ayahuasca was.
True.
Like you read.
Yeah, it's funny that now it's like a tech bros thing. It used to be, as I think he's about, you really used to have to know a guy or know some people. Like I've never done ayahuasca, and now it's like and I for years was very entrenched in the types of scenes wherein that would have popped up. Now I'm agoraphobic and I don't leave the fucking house. But back when I was around this kind of thing a lot, and was never, when I was like 19, so almost 18 years ago, I've tried things that are exotic and plant-based and last for days on end and are crazy, like exotic even for psychedelics, but never ayahuasca. And now probably due in a large part to Joe Rogan, everyone, you at least know of it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's like a spirit journey thing. It's supposed to be, you go to like South America and you hang out in a hut for 3 days.
You had to be in the know to know what ayahuasca was. Now they mention on...
You look great, by the way, Shane. Love the suit, love the hair. Look fucking majestic as shit, bro.
ESPN.
Going back, I fucked it up.
Ayahuasca was. Now they mention on ESPN.
It's crazy.
It's like a whole cliche now. Oh, everyone knows. Oh, yeah, ayahuasca, sure. Oh, yeah, you mean the stuff where you fly to Peru or Brooklyn and...
Brooklyn.
Yeah. And you sit with a shaman or someone who says they're a shaman.
Interesting. A little cold open into an extended introduction.
Hello.
Okay, so a payphone rings, a hand reaches from out of frame and grabs it. We cut back to see that it is Shane answering this payphone.
Yeah, this is. I'm at the laundromat. Who's this? The president of what?
Okay, as he's looking at the laundromat, the circles where you can see the clothes have all turned into weirdness.
The president of Earth? What do you want? All right. Be right there.
Okay, a little opening skit. Excuse me. Shane. Oh, you know what? I haven't even pulled this up yet. Shane, a little thing we have around here we like to do is we apply the work of comedians to something we affectionately refer to as the Eek scale. Now, the Eek scale is a sort of meter, a sort of metric by which we measure the quality of a person's work on their special. This includes all kinds of factors. We've got joke fidelity, we've got under the subsection joke fidelity, we've got callbacks delivery, monopoly guy, originality, rug pull reliance, structural repetition, subversion of expectation, wordplay, dependence on timeliness. And we've also got a subheading for stage presence, for character consistency, crowd work if you decide to do it. Lots of factors that add together or subtract from your score, which is a zero sum in total. So for the informative efficiency, which is in the introduction part of the Eek scale, I would say yes. So it immediately starts off, he's talking about ayahuasca, we do a cold open. Cool. Then it cuts to a skit intro where he talks to the president of Earth and is like, what do you want? Okay, I'll be right there. It very much paints that's kind of dry and silly with some psychedelic stuff. From what I can tell, he gets a point for informative efficiency. Well, we'll say it at least sets tone. Informative efficiency will remain to be seen. We'll see what this act is all about.
Denver. How about a hand for existence, everyone, huh?
Give a hand for existence, that's cool.
It's amazing any of us
Volume feels alright, right? Let me know if it's a bit much.
Are alive at all. It's statistically impossible that any of us are here. Earth started as molten lava. About 4.5 billion years ago, wasn't a great place to be on.
Okay. We know science stuff, a little psychedelic, a little science stuff. So, Earth's 4.5 billion years old, and it didn't used to be a great place to be on.
And then it cooled down enough, started raining for about 100 million years, turned into an ocean, and still wasn't a great place for life. Had a lot of asteroids hitting it, didn't have an atmosphere at the time. But deep in the ocean, in cracks, these bubbles would serve as little bits of membrane for little building blocks of life to sometimes get trapped and then stay and combine into life, and they'd spring up. Once
Actually really fucking cool.
life on Earth stumbled on copying itself, that was a real special change. That's what led to us. Life started making copies. Some of those copies would have errors. Usually that was bad news. It'd be a dead end on an evolutionary tree. But sometimes there'd be a serendipitous error, and life would get a little bit better at surviving and replicating. And much like this joke, it was an excruciatingly slow process. It took about...
Nice, dude. He kind of talked about that on the Soder interview, where he's like, you know, these science jokes, he has a lot of passion for them, but they take a really long time to set up. Wow, that was really well done. Cool. That does bode so very, very well. His self-awareness there, to know that, like, it's a little long. Again, as a setup, it took a long time to get there, right? But again, his self-awareness, him calling it out, did actually make it incredibly funny. I'm impressed with this. We'll give him a point for subversion of expectation there, because I was so lulled by the cadence, you know, of the comedian, but also just the fact that we're doing like science stuff. I was really kind of zooming into the visuals a little bit, and then it was like, bam, expectations subverted.
2 billion years before life evolved the first mouth, even started eating other little bits of life around it, and then something really special happened. Life evolved the first anus. Changed everything. Once there was a front and a back, life had a direction forward. See, the most complex life before that, how it worked, is it absorbed energy through those membrane walls, and that would diffuse waste through little slits in those membrane walls. Once there was a butthole, those slits got repurposed by some organisms and eventually turned into fish gills, and then the ocean started teeming with life. There was so much life, in fact, that some of the life would be fleeing from all of the other life trying to get it, and would go to shallower and shallower waters in newly formed land. Some of it even took a chance on some of that newly formed land. Some of it even made it, and when that happened, those fish gills migrated back in the heads and became ears, and none of us would be hearing any of it.
I may not be a bartender.
Oh, this is really, really gonna fuck this up for me, man. Fuck, I hate to do this to you, bro. One more. Okay, I'm gonna set it now. I'm gonna set it objectively. I'm gonna look at what time we're at right here. We're at almost 4 minutes. So if in the next 2 minutes there is another advertisement, you're getting hit for an ad break. And I hate to break this to you, Shane, because I truly do seem to like you. You seem very much my type of guy. Ad breaks are an X2-, which means you can gain a point. If you do it well, if you do it tastefully, you can gain a point. If you do it poorly, it will cost you 2 points. So if there's another ad by time code 556, you're losing those 2 points, Moss. Don't make me do it to you, guy. I know it's not just you, but you decided you wanted to go through 800-pound gorilla media, and they are getting pretty freaking greedy these days, so it is a little bit on you. I'll only hit you for it once. Okay? I'll only hit you for it one time. Probably. We'll see.
Right now, if it weren't for the evolution of...
Because I gotta be objective in this. Whether, like, I can't be reflective of, like, what I want the score to come out looking like. If I start to find that I'm enjoying the specials, but they get low scores, then the scale is broken and we need to fix it. So objectivity. We're play testing for objectivity this campaign.
Of the butthole.
Where my nerds at?
Oh.
Going back to the butthole.
Ears. And none of us would be hearing any of this right now if it weren't for the evolution of the butthole. I bring this up for a couple reasons. One is that if you ever decide to trip in a natural history museum, be prepared to make some strange connections that really stick with you and an incessant need to share them with anyone that will listen.
Okay.
Two, it's to highlight that all of this existence is a trip, and I think it's important to start this show in that way because we're going to be talking about some very wild experiences this evening, and I think that it's kind of grounding to sometimes take a bit of perspective and realize that as crazy as a given trip could be, there's no trip that could ever be crazier than the fact that none of us would exist if it weren't for a chance butthole mutation 2 billion years ago. And with that, let's get into the show, everybody. Colorado, you guys are absolutely amazing.
So as he's talking, there's a guy that goes walking behind him, a silhouette of a guy that goes walking behind him on the visuals screen. Oh no, it's a guy who walked over and picked up the mic stand. Sean's kind of turned around and sort of looking back in confusion. Okay. Still looking back. Still getting laughs. You know, I was working the crowd a little bit.
Did anyone else see that?
So, you know, a quick shout out here to this aspect of it all. But the screen that he's using isn't just like random projections, seemingly. Or that's quite serendipitous. But it's, you know, right, he just asked, did anyone else see that? And then behind him, the screen is showing a bunch of question marks. This really is a cool show. I imagine going to see this live would be incredible. The camera changes kind of break immersion a little bit, but maybe that's important for the comedy-going audience, you know, the people who are here for the fact that it's a comedy special. Or maybe they did it because they knew that Critical Leaks would get pulled in. You know, old Druid the Punk would be pulled in by all of these cool visuals and needs to be broken up so it can be remarked upon. That's my theory.
Colorado, you guys are amazing. This is... You guys have the first recreational marijuana? Amazing. First to decriminalize mushrooms? So incredible. And of course you've gone downhill ever since, but still important progress. It's an exciting time if you're into the psychedelics. We are in the middle of a psychedelic renaissance-ish. It's a little early to tell if you ask me, but it seems like it's moving in the right direction.
I agree with that.
At least. A big change since I was 16 years old and got into psychedelics. Now there's psychedelic research that's very popular in making...
I mean, yeah, Rogan just went on the U.S. national television, Uncle Jolly, and got a whole reform thing done. It really is a crazy time. And again, I've said it before, but like as a self-described psychonaut, it's it is cool. I think it is too early to tell. I think it's too early, as he said, it's too early to call it a full-on Renaissance period, but feels to me like we're out of the Dark Ages, right? There are also the Austinites. Never mind the Austinites. Who, for some people, are the representation of psychedelic drug users, which is problematic. Not saying there's any right or wrong way to do that by any means. But when every time a guy can't talk, he goes, I'm sorry, I took mushrooms before this. All the bottom of the barrel, bottom feeder people who think that the Austinites have their qualities. We all see a guy who can't talk and blame it on mushrooms, and we go, oh, mushrooms make it so you can't talk. If they've never done mushrooms before, and all they ever see is the, like, I say this with love, but the 6th Street dirtbags who are like, oh, dude, I really like taking mushrooms. It's like, most people do, but shut the fuck up. Like, you're not who we want representing us right now. Even with Rogan, there are going to be some people who hate him so much that they're just anti-psychedelics now because they know that's a thing he's part of, which is unfortunate. But, you know, the Renaissance as a period isn't defined by everything going well. It's a period of innovation and in the face of the dark ages of yester. So, net gain, I think. But yeah, anyway.
Headlines, psychedelic therapy is making a big comeback. Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah, guess who's been thinking about therapy for the first time?
That's really good. Shane. It's not entirely your fault, man. Strange bedfellows and all that, my friend. This is... I said by 5:56 and it's 6:54. Can't hit him with it yet. Well played, sir. He must have seen the show. That's always my assumption.
Up with that idea? That
sounds vaguely like they're referring to someone who could kind of resemble me. They must have seen Critical Leaks before.
Sounds like some idea my girlfriend puppet mastered to trick me into therapy. There's now psychedelic therapy at festivals. Now, like, it's your first time at a festival, some young kid, oh, I hear mushrooms are pretty cool. How much should I do? Oh, you say 5 grams is a heroic dose?
Terrible misnomer. If you're hearing this and wondering, I don't know if he's going to be so explicit, but I will tell you, don't do that. In fact, if you're ever taking anything drug-wise, but I would say psychedelics in particular, anything someone hands you and suggests, take half. Take half, keep the other half. Wait 3 to 4 hours. If in 3 to 4 hours you're not comfortable with where you're at, pop that thing in. But you can always do more. You can never do less.
Well, I've always considered myself to be a bit of a hero. And then you find out in a hurry that being half of a hero would have been plenty.
I see. The man knows what he's talking about. Being half of a hero would have been plenty. Very funny.
And now some real heroes gotta step in because of your acts of heroism.
Yeah, right. Well put.
And you're confused and you're overwhelmed and in a sea of people.
Shane, did your dog give our house fleas? Did you ever have a flea-ridden dog? Again, the guy was more of a wook than Shane seems to be, but, you know, a guy like this can't talk like this without at one point having at least dabbled in wookery.
Like when I was a kid, you get the cops called on you, or even maybe a well-meaning person.
Of course, if he had a Comedy Central Presents in 2009, then he probably predates it being called Wook. W-O-O-K. Calm down, my Austinites. I didn't say it.
Well, the ambulance.
Say the word you all love so much.
Insomnia, further exacerbating an already potentially traumatizing situation and you just needed a friendly ear in a lot of cases. Now a friend could take you to a little tent and you can get some water, some fan on you, and then you can sit on the couch and talk to a professional therapist about your stupid hollow earth theory or whatever idiotic idea that you heard on some dumb podcast years ago that you now think is your idea that you're coming up with in that moment. And a professional therapist has donated their time.
See, it's been a while since I've been out of the old circuit. Pretty much, yeah, since pandemia. So I'm sort of a festy goer of yester. I would play at some festivals, a lot smaller festivals and stuff, bands I was in or bands I was being a musicianary for, TM. We play festivals, smaller festivals, but also I've dabbled in some pretty big ones.
Time to do that. This is someone with
a lot of EDM and becoming a double hero.
$50,000.
I don't think I've ever actually done that. I don't want to stolen valor that. It's not my, more of a dozesman. Dozer.
Student loan.
Like the guy from Matrix.
Yeah. And they will sit there and listen to you explain that you're the Lizard King and everyone needs to obey you.
Morrisonian shit.
Without the heart to break it to you that you're the 8th Lizard King to come in that day. When I was a teenager, if you did too many mushrooms or something, well, good luck. No one's helping you out of this situation.
I had a friend that they took to the fucking hospital. That man's never been the same. How could you be? God damn, dude. Strapped to a bed when you're just too high on shrooms, like.
So you just imploded into your own.
It's just because I think everyone had taken them. Dude starts panicking. The other people in the group are like, shit, like, is he dying? He keeps saying he's dying. Like, you can't die from this, right? You can't die from this. But then the tension in the room continues to build, and people's like empathy they didn't know they had is starting to affect them, and it's starting to get very, very, very stressful. And they're like, "Fuck it! If he thinks he's dying, we should go to the hospital, right?" And you can't really think critically in the same way in that state of mind. And so you're like, "I guess, yeah, hospitals for sick people. I think he's sick," and then they ended up there. That's just gotta be the worst fucking thing in the world. Especially against your will. Oh God, horrific.
Shattered ego. Oh God, what is the point? What is the point?
By the way, a little friendly advice if you're ever at this particular point, shower. It's the only way.
Best case scenario.
It's gonna get weird. Probably try to avoid the mirror unless you're a narcissist like myself. Yeah, it's water over your head is the best thing you can do to kind of. It's not going to go away, but you'll feel more human.
Is maybe some part of you is able to pop out of your body to talk yourself through your own difficult experience? Hey, Shane.
Oh shit, weird. Okay, so then it goes, so the screen behind him pops up. There's a heavily saturated, kind of filtered, very psychedelic looking version of him. He's got a hood on and he's saying, "Hey, Shambo.
Can you hear me?"
Excuse me.
Yeah, up here.
So he's kind of crouched down like this. It's really interesting performance. And he's turning around looking.
Say, what do you think about getting out of that fetal position? You're kind of creeping everybody out right now.
What do you say about getting out of that fetal position?
No? Company like that, huh? Oh, boy.
Okay.
Well, looks like we got ourselves stuck in another little existential funk here.
Too real.
Looks like you forgot to focus on the meaning rather than the void of it. It's gonna be a long evening. Listen, Shane, buddy, life isn't pointless, it's point-free.
Fuck. That was what was always a joke when I was on the road. We're not homeless, we're home free.
You're free to choose your...
Which, admittedly, I got from a festy person. A wook, if you will.
Destiny. You're never lost because there is no path. What do you think about that? Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me, man. And you have that argument for a few hours till they kick you out of the fabric section at Walmart.
Okay, funny. A little bit of a rug pull there, but worth the journey, so we're not going to hit them with any kind of demerit. But, you know, a rug pull being long setup, they kind of get to the end, they realize, like, oh, there's no real big pop for this. This was just like a fun aside, kind of a fun journey. So they throw and then I suddenly looked up and I was at my kid's school. And that's, you know, then they kick you out of the fabric section of Walmart. It's like it's only juxtaposition. It is only like you weren't expecting that, but it's technically a punchline. So they'll kind of use that rug pull, is what I call it, to, like, you know, to keep it a joke, to justify it being in the special. But again, the journey itself was worth it. I didn't mind if they pulled the rug out from under me. Okay, cool. It's like some crazy shit happening behind him. Oh, it's fabric from Walmart. You know, I see what he's doing. See, there's an adjacency between what's going on in the visuals and what he's talking about in general. Man, he must have practiced the fuck out of this. Really rehearsed the hell out of it.
I'm a fabric fan. Times have changed.
It should have gotten a bigger pop than it did. That's really funny. I'm a fabric fan.
So much. I mean, 9-10 years ago, no one knew what ayahuasca was. Like, you...
Okay, we're in the ayahuasca section now. Weird. A lot of people do this where they'll do a cold open and then they'll leave that part out. So it's like, oh, this was just a joke that the rest of it didn't really merit keeping, but, like, you know, I thought this part was funny. It's a good intro. They'll use that for their cold open. He actually took a part of his video, which is way more of like a YouTuber Ty Rivera-esque style. It was very popular on YouTube for a while. It's kind of become a little passé in the YouTube videos of it all, but you don't really see it in comedy specials very often.
Really had to be in the know to know what ayahuasca was. Now they mention it on ESPN. It's like
I can see why they don't tend to do it this way. I'm not saying this one's broken by any means, but I could see why. Just because I'm like, yeah, we heard this, right?
a whole cliche now. Oh, everyone knows. Oh, yeah, ayahuasca, sure. Oh, yeah, you mean the stuff where you fly to Peru or Brooklyn and you sit with a shaman or someone who says they're a shaman. Man, shaman are really making a comeback these days. Boy, they were on the endangered species list for a while there. 15 years ago, there's about 4 shaman left on Earth. Now you can't turn around without bumping into a damn shaman. Really proliferate.
No, you can't turn around without bumping into a damn shaman. Really, really, really funny line.
Right. Shaman will give you
Real money games are
all right. So it is. He keeps breaking his own rhythm. Like, he keeps doing the thing where he'll lull me into this sense of security that, you know, the hypnosis that comedians use. We've talked about it on the show before. And then he hits you with these ads, and nothing takes you out. Nothing is more immersion breaking than just suddenly having a Mike's Hard Lemonade commercial just blaring at you. Which, again, is kind of the nature of the beast. It's, you know, art and industry or whatever, but there has to be a line. And so, to be fair, because this is a an X2 minus here. I want to make sure that I state it ahead of time. So if his next ad is not placed at the end of a joke or at a good natural stopping point, which, say what you will about Callan, his first act on his YouTube channel, he did that very well. He waited until the joke was over, and then he put the ad. By the way, I saw that somebody else put out the, like, Brian Callan's special is an atomic bomb of comedy. And we may end up covering that here, just because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you must not have seen my coverage of it. You must not be aware that somebody already proved you wrong, motherfucker. And obviously I'm being a little hyperbolic because a lot of that special was bad. I mean, it got a -2. I think, was it Gringo Poppy was a -6 or -4, and this got a -2. So it was bad. It was really bad, but like I'm gonna check it first, and if I see that he is contradicting the things that I've said, we're gonna pull him up. We're gonna Asmund Gold style. You're getting pulled up. We're gonna pull you up, and I'm gonna point out what you're wrong about.
But T.
So he will probably be getting. I want to give him a point for character consistency, just because I think it's very much a part of who he is. We'll take it away from him. I just don't want to forget it for the later count. So he's not reliant on the rug pull. He's only got one. We'll say after 3 times, you get the demerit hammer. But if his next advertisement is not well placed, then we're gonna have to hit him with an ad break demerit. Again, it's not totally his fault, but it is. He put it out on a 800-pound gorilla media and didn't do so with a like, hey, like, what are the ads really gonna look like? Like, hopefully we'll see people start to pay more attention to that, or maybe it's just a part of the contract that they can put ads wherever they feel like. I don't really know how all that works. Believe it or not. What?
Really proliferating.
Oh, shamans.
Shaman will give you a cup of tea. Tea? What? That doesn't set someone up for the experience. Describing it as what?
Ayahuasca is usually brewed into a tea.
Oh, spot tea. This is not some chamomile with honey situation. I mean, even just the taste. It tastes like giving the jungle a rim job.
Okay. Oh no, that's funny.
We are moving from the realm of, having some mushrooms or LSD and trees getting a little wonky. This is now going into another space. Like,
okay, I like this so far.
You get kind of having an out-of-body experience. In fact, this piece is from my friend Jonathan Salter. The piece is called I've Been Here, and he named it that because so many people would see this piece and go, I've been here. Hey, listen, this is not like a metaphor for what ayahuasca, trippy. This is a recollection. This is a real thing. It's powerful stuff. You're melding into the architecture of an alien landscape.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned earlier that this isn't like taking shrooms or like some LSD where the trees are getting a little wonky. Yeah, what he's describing is far more of like a DMT or apparently ayahuasca type of a deal.
Novel language that you're intuitively experiencing for the.
It's cool though. The visuals are super sick.
First time going, I know it now. I need to quit my job. To focus on pottery.
Man, I miss the West Coast.
Worst thing about ayahuasca, all the art supplies you gotta buy afterwards. I do feel like I'm kind of inside, halfway in, halfway out. Like I do have one foot in this realm in ayahuasca. Like if I close my eyes, yeah, I can clearly see this other realm, but say I need to go to the bathroom or something, I can't open my eyes, concentrate a bit. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, but make my way to the bathroom. A lot of people just choose to puke and shit all over themselves and the person next to them, especially if they happen to be on either side of me in every ayahuasca circle ever. I mean, you can sometimes you can just get up, go to you can make it to the. I don't like to tell people how to live their lives. It's worth a try. I was like, maybe throwing up on me can be the backup plan. People will be like, I suppose you puke because
he really, really is. He has a very natural funniness to him. He's very clever, but not making himself the hero. He's sitting here describing, yes, the people who are bodily functioning all over him are the butt of the joke, technically, but the way he's saying it isn't necessarily high-roading them. He's just being like, maybe try hitting the bathroom instead of puking all over me. I don't know. What am I? Who am I? I really, really enjoy his delivery. And this is why he's already scored his point for character consistency, which, for those of you keeping track at home, is an X2+.
It tastes bad, huh? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Which he may need given these ad placements, because that is an X2-.
Oh, I wish. I wish that's why you puked on ayahuasca. No, you puke because a lifetime of grudges has suddenly crystallized into a undeniable story of generational baggage while you surrender to a will that is not your own, and it turns out that can make one queasy.
Fantastic choice of words there. Very, very, very well written. Because, turns out that can make somebody nauseous. Isn't as funny as that can make somebody queasy. That's fantastic choice of words there.
I have far more experience with DMT, dimethyltryptamine. That's the active ingredient in ayahuasca. And
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
And it was
explains a lot.
Actually what I was introduced to first. The first time I did it was about 12 years ago. I was in Dallas, Texas, doing regular old stand-up comedy stuff before I started doing kind of big themed shows.
Like science and stuff. We heard the history of that. That's why we do that.
And whatnot. And this local comic that I just happened to be paired with at the time, his name was Seth. He came up to me after the first show and he was like, hey man, have you ever done DMT before? I was like, no, never heard of it. And he's like, oh, you'd like it. You're a trippy dude. And again, this is like 12 years ago. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I'm in my 30s now. I'm not really looking to add more drugs to the very long list of drugs. I have such a robust toolkit already. I'm getting older. If anything,
except with psychedelics, you're the tool.
I'm looking to subtract a few. Maybe hone in on some of the more beneficial of experiences. And he's like, well, you should watch some videos at least. And I did. It was compelling. There's some interesting speculation that perhaps because DMT is in a lot of living things and plants and such, and it's actually in your brain right now, granted in very trace amounts, but still, what's it doing there? And there's speculation that maybe it has some role in dreaming at night. Further speculation is that maybe it even gets released in high volumes right before you die, and that might explain why sometimes people are lucky enough, if they get revived from cardiac arrest or coma or something, to, sometimes have these stories of seeing these weird alien worlds and different visions and talking with entities. Anyhow, you can smoke that shit. Take a little peek for yourself.
Chewy Pharmacy delivers trusted meds at low.
See, that was well timed. It's like he's programming these ads in as he watches the show.
Any kid, you learn Tampa.
As all good comedians do, you're a fan of Critic Leaks. And the delusion therein.
Well, I'm not going to go my whole life without trying that. That's just not who I am. And so this guy Seth took me to this guy Phil's house, who's like the DMT fairy of Dallas. He was just sprinkling around DMT.
Holy shit, I knew of Phil. A little bit of a DMT fairy himself.
Everywhere. Not a,
right, yeah.
a dealer or anything. He was just trying to introduce as many people as possible.
It's a mystery, man. Like any other, I was walking on down the road. Yeah, it was a Tainted Rum song. I don't know if you'd find anything if you did Google it.
Possible to DMT. DMT is a very meaningful thing to him. So I was like, free drugs? This is suspicious. And the whole situation's weird, but I meet Phil. Phil's a cool guy. He's a computer programmer. His lady's an...
Nah, my Phil. Phil's a cool guy, but he was not a computer programmer, if you know what I mean.
Neuroscientist. I was like, all right, these are smart people. Hey, they have a nice house. I don't think they've ruined their lives with whatever this weird DMT stuff is that I'm just now learning about. I guess I'll give it a shot. And Phil's like...
I learned about DMT 12 years ago. 2014? Really? Bro!
Like, have you ever done mushrooms before? I was like, oh, yes, Phil. Tons of mushrooms. Love mushrooms. Can't get enough of them. He's like, okay, well, it's nothing like mushrooms. Well, what was that question for then, Phil? Just some weird census that you do for no reason whatsoever? He's like, well, it's good to know that you were in a non-ordinary state of consciousness before. All right, fair enough. So Phil's like, take this bong. You want to have 3 of the biggest hits you've ever taken in your...
What the fuck? That's crazy. There's no way you got to 3, right?
Entire life.
Is he loading them? Even then, was this bong made of acrylic? Like, what?
And I was like, no problem, Phil.
That's crazy.
Actually, I used to own a 6-foot bong as a teenager.
See, there but for the grace of red hair.
A badge of...
He's probably our second favorite redhead over here. Our first favorite is, of course, William Montgomery. William, hope you're doing all right, buddy. We love you and we miss you, and the people that don't like you aren't the good ones.
Honor of my youth.
We're the Redacts of the world. Oh, William Montgomery has finally hit rock bottom. You did this to him. We're holding grudges here at CTE. Druid the Punk is not a gracious man.
That has not aged well, and generally makes me blush when sharing that little factoid with others, but come to find out, I have been...
What factoid?
Aged well, and honor of my youth that has not aged well, and
we're going back one more time. Sorry, I have no idea what he's talking. Oh, he used to own a 6-foot bong.
Honor of my youth that has not aged well, and generally makes me blush when sharing that little factoid with others, but...
Dude, we all did. And the thing is you needed it because back in the day, like you wouldn't want a 6-foot bong for your, medicinal grade doja. But back in the day when it was, the brickiest, it was literally just brown and you break it off, there's nasty little white seeds in them. You don't gotta listen to... You could listen to many, many millennials talk about what weed used to be like, but a 6-foot bong would actually make some of that really work. It's why we all loved gravity bongs growing up.
Come to find out, I have been training for this day.
It's funny, though, because you mentioned 16 earlier, and I was like, oh, that's when I started, too.
For a very long time. He's like, well, I won't get too cocky. He's like, it is very intense. It comes on real quick. You'll have the first hit, probably gonna feel weird immediately. The second hit is usually way too intense for most people. Most people take 2 rips off of a DMT bong for the first time. They're gonna think something went real wrong. They're gonna think they missed something in the instructions. They think they did too much. They want to stop whatever you do. Don't stop. You have to keep going. You'll break through to this other space. You gotta get that third hit. I was like, whatever with the build-up, Phil. So I grabbed that bong, took the first hit off that bong right away. I was like, oh damn, I'm turning into a cartoon. Am I just now turning into a cartoon? Or how about
the visuals are changing behind him? Originality. There we go. I was like, I wish we had something for like innovation or something. Originality. Point for originality. This is a very cool concept for a show. And my biggest thing that I really, really thought he was going to bump with or bump into was these ad breaks. He has since avoided, but I will hit him with he's going to get a demerit for ad breaks, which is an X2 minus. But he will get a demerit for ad breaks if he does interrupt one of his punchlines. If from now on the rest of them are timed out well, then cool. Then you won't get that X2M demerit. But any other time I feel like he's stepped on our toes, we're going to have to hit you with it, Shane. You understand. It's for the love of the game.
I've always been a cartoon. Well, guess I'll be a cartoon, smoking a bong. Took this
lost in the woods. Fuck it, build a cabin. You have significantly improved your predicament.
Second hit of that bong, and then the whole universe just started shaking violently and collapsing and reorganizing itself in weird ways. I was like, oh no.
So now the visuals are reflecting that.
Oh, I've made a terrible decision this evening. Feels like I just did all of the drugs. All of them. All at the same time. And I'm overdosing on every single one. Well, guess I'm gonna die now. Phil saw the look on my face. He's like, one more.
He's also done a great job of avoiding any kind of Monopoly guy, because he gave us this introduction on this character, Phil. So if he was just some absolutely ridiculous character and the whole joke was how ridiculous is Phil, then he would be getting hit with a demerit for a Monopoly guy joke. But he provided enough backstory that this ridiculous character we can see as an actual human. When he said Phil's sitting there going, one more, I didn't go, is he really? It's like, that's a ridiculous way for a person to act, but he set up the universe wherein that ridiculousness can sustain itself. That can exist. It's believable. It doesn't strain my credulity. It's not a Monopoly guy. Which is, of course, a Dan Harmon reference.
It's like, well, nothing to lose at this point. So I start filling up that bong. It was nice and milky white. I took a breath before clearing it. And when I did that, all of this, everything I've ever known, just goes ba-dum-bum, gone.
All right, that seems like as good a stopping point as any for this particular one. We're going to continue next episode. Don't worry, we will be finishing these off. I like doing the comedy commentaries, so I figure we start splitting the difference with the show. The first hour and a half, we do comedy commentary coverage. The second hour and a half, we do largely more focused on the stand-up specials themselves. We're going to mark this time code real quick at 2107, so keep that in mind, 2107. Shane Mauss stopped at 2107. Now I'm going to go get myself ready for the show because it is time, as always, to end our show today with a musical performance by none other than your beloved Jibbo. So we're going to put on some waiting music, and then we'll be back. Shout out to Bard Fox for letting us use their music. Now this is a song by the band called Rancid. It's called Journey to the End, or something to that effect. Break your style to fully, 'cause you're that sacred ground for me. There wasn't always a place to go, but there was always a nerve to lead them along here. And hardest bands and hardest people, hardest friends, and we were equals. But what you gonna do when everybody goes on without you? To the end, our journey to the end, to the end, to the end, our journey to the end, to the end, oh yeah, to the end. And our journey to the end started in 87 and then in 89. Got right going any place, anytime. It was just the four of us getting in the two bus. Too much attention unavoidably destroyed our sound. Four kids on tour, 3,000 miles in a port of China. Now what was going on here? Not a million years of touring out like this. Hell no, no premonition could have saved this. To the end, our journey to the end. To the end, our journey to the end. To the end, oh yeah. To the end, our journey to the end. That it came from far away, from New Orleans in LA, Spain. He said, this is a Mecca. I said, this ain't no Mecca, man, this place is fucked. 3 months go by, he had no home, he had no food, he's all alone. But I said, fool me once, shame on you, and fool me twice, and we're back to New Orleans. To the end, our journey to the end. To the end, our journey to the end. To the end, oh yeah. To the end, our journey to the end. To the end, to the end, to the end, our journey to the end, to the end, oh yeah, to the end, it's our journey to the end, yeah. Thank you so much. I am Jibbo, I am Drew the Bug, this is Critical Leaks, and in the meantime, be nice. Wait for it. Be nice. Woo, we have a great time.